everybody. Oh my God, I can't believe we made it. It's been a year. It's been a year, guys, that we've been in lockdown. And it's showing in different ways. Some people bleach their hair, some people cut it all off, some people join the Showdown. And that's kind of what Marisol did. And she is one of my favorite new people. She is obnoxiously stunning. Like, this is just going to be me just like vomiting love all over Marisol all hour. So just prepare yourself for 2 hours, 3 hours, however long it's going. But yeah, guys, meet the wonderful and lovely and talented and so sweet and kind Marisol McKee. I say it every week, but I need to get one of those soundboards so I can get like clapping and like applause on here, because it's like in my heart, that's what I hear. So how you doing, girl?
Hey, what's up? I'm good. I'm stoked to be here. I've been itching for a chance to just kind of shoot the shit and hang out with you.
Fuck yes. Well, you know what?
We can get.
Let's start this off right. Slunch it, baby.
Salud.
Okay, so we're just gonna kick off. We're just gonna kick it out right away. Go straight into the Schmodown stuff and get that out of the way, and then we'll really have fun talking about everything else. So, how did you first find out about the Schmodown?
I first found out from a really good friend of mine. We were both into movies. I don't know how I never asked him how he actually found out about Schmodown, but this was like 5 years ago. And he introduced me to it. He was really into it. We would talk about movies so much. He's like, "Oh my God, you would love the Schmodown." And I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "You know so much." Like we both talk about tidbits all the time. He's like, "You know so much about the movies. Like, I think you would love this." And he introduced me, and yeah, he was right. And I fell in love with it. I was watching it as I was absorbing as much of it as I could possibly absorb. It was obscene. Yeah. And then it just blossomed from there. And finally, when I stopped being broke and the shows started coming to the East Coast, I went to some East Coast shows. And I actually got to meet people from the shows from there.
And that's where we met.
And that's where we met.
On a hot, sweaty August night. No, really, guys, it was really disgusting. But yeah, I just remember, I don't remember a lot about that night because I think we hit like 3 or 4 bars. But I just remember at one point we were at Fred's, the bar with like all of the dog pictures everywhere. Do you remember this? Like literally the entire inside of the bar was just covered by like people's pictures of like dogs that they had brought and like stapled. Like there's a bar in Oklahoma where you literally like bring $1 and like staple it to the wall. And like, that's a thing. Like Fred's is pictures of your dogs. And I have never felt like a bar was invented more for me than Fred's.
It's the right idea. We've got one of those in Philly. It's called the Good Dog Bar, and it's exactly that. People frame the wall is just adorned, just like you're saying. Like it's adorned with framed photographs of if you love your dog, just come in and immortalize your dog on the wall.
Yeah, it's
the greatest place.
The best. I remember it was getting towards the end of our stay at Fred's, and I feel this tap on my shoulder. And I turn around because I'm sitting in a chair because God knows I can't be trusted to stand at that point in the night. And I turn around and this guy is like, "Hey, my name is," I can't remember what his name was, but he introduced himself and he's like, "My girlfriend's a huge fan of yours. She's super shy, but she wants to talk to you about like getting involved." And then you walk up and little did you know that before all of this happened, I was sitting when we were doing the live event. Brianne Chandler and I were sitting in like the back row of the center section in the audience. And you come walking up the aisle wearing these like short jean shorts. And I'm just like, my jaw just hit my lap. And I was like, "Brianne, did you see her?" She's like, "What?" I was like, "She's stunning." I was so attracted to you. I got angry. I was like, "This bitch." And, like I was like, "Holy crap. Like she's such a stunning Amazon of a creature." And then you walk back, I'm like, "I gotta meet this girl sometime. Like she's gonna be some powerhouse chick, I know." And then I meet you in the bar and you were so shy and so sweet. And I was like, "Girl, you just need to bust out of that shell and you're gonna have so much fun in the Schmodown." And we talked you up and we tried to get you in and you fucking got drafted. We're so excited. And now you're killing it. You're what, 2-1 now in singles?
I made it 2-1. I was nervous. Thought I was gonna fall under 500 there for a second. I was close. Then he took me to the wire. But I squeaked it out.
It's not that bad down at the bottom. I swear. Like, you can listen to you. It's not too bad. It's very relaxed. People expect nothing of you.
Baby, no place to go but up. All right.
Right? Unless somebody tosses down a shovel and you're like, oh crap. No, we're trying to figure it out, Tyler. I love you though. But yeah, so you got started, you got introduced to a whole bunch of us. I know Janine was instrumental also in helping get you on, because I know as soon as like we went back to California and we went in for a new studio, like Janine and I were on Christian, like there's this girl from New York. I don't know if you got to meet her, but she's amazing. And we like just recruited like hell out of you. So glad you're in. And now you're just being a badass, you know?
I'm just happy to join the ranks of Jesus, you, Janine, the amazing Brienne, the amazing ladies who have come before me. I want to earn a spot in that club. I want to. Yeah.
Well, you're well on your way. I mean, it's your second season. You ended last season at doing 500 for singles, and with teams, you guys were like 2-1.
We were also 1-1 for singles. Same for singles and teams.
Yeah. So you had a really great showing. Like, that's amazing. That's huge. So it's going to be fun to watch you this season. Even though you're not on my team, I will be cheering for you because you're my baby. But yeah, nice. You know, it's like that's like the hardest thing about all of this is like now it's serious. Now there's money on the line, and we're like everybody's doing what they can to get their faction in first place and like stay there and everything. But like you develop these relationships with everybody else. And you're like, but these are my friends and I want them to succeed, but I want to win because we're all super competitive.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And the factions, like you said, the factions and the money have just ramped that up. Especially, and I think it's interesting too, because like there have been so many people, like it's just expanded so much, you know, to like Showdown is so grassroots. Like it was such a close-knit community, and that's what's so great about it, amazing about it, is because it's founded on such a tight-knit group of people who are close to each other and friends and people who know each other like the back of their hand, and it's grown, like it's just grown and grown and grown. And what's making it like so interesting, like I know some people are like, you know, of course it was great like that, and it's also great in its iteration now the way it is, but like it makes it fascinating when it expands and you've got all these new people in the mix, you know, it keeps things pretty damn interesting. But now, like you're saying, like we're like not only are people super close, but now all these new friendships and these new bonds and these new unions are forming from people who would have never ever met each other any other way. Anyway.
Yeah. No, I mean it's really fascinating. The thing that I really do miss though is the camaraderie between all of the players, like regardless of faction or whatever, during in studio matches. Because like you sit there and you just. It's literally an entire like 8-hour day of just busting each other's balls. Like I remember very vividly the Saturday after I lost to Roka. Roka and I are sitting side by side in the front row playing the match, playing against each other on our phones and like just having a good time and like being like, where were these round one questions for us? Like you know, I miss that because at this point, I feel like it's going to be when everybody comes together, it's still going to be so exciting, but there's going to be so many people that like I have to meet for the first time and be like, oh my God, I'm such a fan of yours. Like we talked for an hour on my show. Like I do you remember? Like, are we friends? Like, and then everybody else, you're just like, get your hands off my whiskey.
No, I'm gonna bring my own because I know there's gonna be not enough whiskey to go around. The second we all of us, our drunk asses converge.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm going to be doing a Costco trip to go pick up all the handles.
That's the craziest thing is that, like I know, and that's the part that people aren't talking about enough. Like I know that like there's been so much said about like, oh, you know, these rookies and these new people, like, you know, like who play online, like just wait. Like they've talked a lot about, like, there's been a lot of talk about like the competitive aspect, like, oh, let's see how they do in the studio. Like for me, that has never been like the issue for me. Like I'm not worried about going to the studio for competitive reasons. I'm not worried about it. the part that I lament that I'm like, yeah, I do want to go to the studio because I watched for years and I grew to love for years like what you're talking about, what you had, what you've experienced, like the camaraderie and that what you're talking about, that sense of like having fun and hanging out and restoring that sense of fun into it. I want to feel it. I want to experience that. And that's something, that myself and people who started out digitally haven't gotten, and are missing out on. And that's the part that thrills me the most. That's why I can't fucking wait to get into the studio because I'm so thirsty for that. I'm so hungry for that. Like I thrive on that. I thrive on that energy, being around amazing people, shooting the shit with amazing people like all day and then going in and answering questions about things that you love. Like that seems like such a dream scenario. And I would kill to get away from sitting in this like apartment by myself, you know,
Yeah.
like Zoom calling everybody. I can't wait to experience some of the amazing things that you've experienced in studio.
Yeah, it's definitely different when you go to do a match and you're like a half hour before or an hour before you're like, okay, I should probably do my hair and makeup, and then all right, I'm gonna brush my teeth, make sure that that's all cleared, and then you sit down and make sure everything's prepped, and you do your match, and then it's over, and you turn your light off, and you close your laptop, and you go keep studying, and like there's no celebration with a bunch of your friends that you won. There's no like making you feel better when you lost. Like literally that feeling extends until 2 o'clock in the morning when Barney's would kick us out because that was what we did. Everybody hung out together and like went over and got food. Like it's just such an amazing thing. And I hope that when we start to get back into a studio, I hope they can find a space that is near a bar. Because if not, I'm just parking my car at the nearest bar, whatever bar we adopt, and then like Ubering back to the studio. Like that's how it's gonna happen. But yeah, it's someday soon. Just everybody keep wearing your fucking masks and washing your hands and get those vaccines as soon as you can. Like that's all we ask, so that I can hug my girl Marisol before the end of the year.
Oh yeah.
All I ask. I just want to crack your back and maybe your rib with my hugs. All right, well, that's all fun and games. I'm not going to ask you who you want to play and who's coming up because I know you can't tell me. It'll be the one show that Christian watches and like texts me. He's like, "Hey, can you not?"
Yeah.
We talked about this. But anyway, so how have you been doing during the quarantine? Like, I know it's been rough, but like, how you been getting by?
You find your core during something like this, and yeah, I've been my core: family, friends, movies. You stick to the shit that makes you happy, and you're forming stronger bonds with the people that you were already close with, and getting closer to people that you weren't, that you didn't even realize how well you can get to know them. And movies nonstop, movies all day. As part of like the Showdown, of course, like in a competitive sense, but also just therapeutically, like I've been able to like I've been like I no longer pre-quarantine. I just worked between work and school. Like my schedule I would have to carve out blocks for either watching movies or just really having free time. I was on a constant grind, and this quarantine has been like a blessing in like making me stop and take a breath and catch up back on my life, catch up on my health, catch up on my sleep, catch up on my hobbies, and then ease myself back into working. Like I found a different job, which is something that I could do from home, which I really appreciate. And like it's weird. Like I've been fortunate enough, like knock on wood, like it hasn't a couple of people in my family have been affected, but they've come out of it. They've been hospitalized and come out of it. I've been really blessed and fortunate enough that I've been able to find the silver linings in this really difficult time. So I'm just rolling with it.
Yeah, I feel like quarantine has just been kind of like a collective grabbing the ostrich's head out of the sand you know, like everybody's just been kind of like focused on work and like everything, and they've just been go 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 go, and like all of a sudden the pandemic hit, we all went inside and like literally our heads got ripped out of the sand and we're like, oh my god, who am I, like what am I doing, what's going on. Now you have time to like think about, oh my god, I hate this job, let's find a new one. Or oh my god, I hate my boyfriend. Or oh my god, I hate the city I live in. Like this gave us time to change. But with all the movies that you've been watching, what's been something that you've been really that you were like sideswiped by how much you loved it and didn't think you would? Or like a series of movies.
I don't know about didn't think I would, but like I am, I'm fresh. I have tunnel vision because I'm fresh off of the Snyder Cut right now. I just finished it not too long ago, and I'm just so high off of that movie right now. I already had high expectations from it. I already thought it was gonna. I already thought it was gonna be. I already had high hopes for it. I thought it was going to be pretty great, and I'm just like a pig in shit over here. I'm just so elated after watching the Snyder Cut. That's immediately in the moment. That's the thing I'm the really biggest on. I don't know.
Movies like that tend to be like IMAX movies, you know, where it's like it takes up all of your vision, all of your thought, like all of your peripherals, like there is nothing but this. So I totally understand that.
Yeah, I'm just I can be a fangirl for that stuff, and that just hit the spot. I think most recently the most thing that like I was just going into it. I thought it would probably be good. I thought it would probably be good, but I wasn't going to put too much on it. But I didn't realize how good it was going to be. Was Judas and the Black Messiah. Like when I saw that not too long ago, and that just hit me. That like it hit me in the chest really hard. I thought the movie was phenomenal.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think on the top of my head, those are the two that I've seen recently. It really blew me away.
Do you remember what your first like comfort movie of the pandemic was? Or if not, then like one of your favorite, like, today sucks, I need to like either revel in this awful feeling or feel better or cry it out, like whatever your reaction to a bad day, like what's that comfort movie?
Girl. I watched, once the pandemic hit, I spent the first time of the pandemic quarantined up with my sister, and the two of us watched A League of Their Own about, I think the final tally after like the 4th month of quarantine, I think we were nearing 40. Like,
wow.
We like, I'm not kidding. It was just always on. It was on BBC America all the time for some reason. It was on every station nonstop. It was on the MLB network all the time. It was on every station. And so like, of course, you're just going to watch it. We would like click the TV on every night because there was nothing else to do. And we were like, oh, hey, League of Their Own. It's 20 minutes in. Let's watch it. You know, an hour.
The grass girls, don't eat it. Like,
yeah, that was it. That was it. And that just like that, no matter how many times I watched that, I just felt it made me feel better. And that was definitely life support.
Now, did you play softball when you were younger, or is it just a movie that like hits home?
I played sports all year round. Every 4 seasons I played sports growing up. So sports is just like, it's in me. I'm competitive by nature. I learned it from a really small kid when I was a really small kid, and I've always been a tomboy, and I've always loved sports. I've always been a junkie for athletics, and I played a little baseball when I was like a wee lass. And then I played softball in like middle school and high school. So it really connected me on that level too. Like it was just like, this is me. This is what I do.
Yeah, I don't think I can hear the first few notes of the song and not just like instantly like need to be like, I need to go to a room and cry. like literally, if you see me in public, please don't do this. But if I hear batter up, I will just like, nope, Nope, hardcore. Just find whatever girl's closest to me and just hold her hand.
Yeah. No, I'll be right next to you.
Crying and ugly. So
no, we can ugly cry. We can create a pool of tears. Okay, of
it'll probably be summer when we see, so a little splash pool, a little kiddie pool of tears. Put our feet in it, cool off. It'll be fine. No, that movie is definitely and Peggy 100%. Yeah, it's definitely in my top 5.
Hell yeah,
movies.
Peggy knows what's up.
Peggy's my girl. But yeah, it's just, oh god, that movie's so good. And like everything from like, just the era that it was in, and the costuming, and the verbiage that they get to use, like like literally nothing will make me laugh harder than if somebody just walks by and goes, "Avoid the clap, Jimmy Dugan."
That's good advice.
It's great advice. That's advice to live by. I think, doesn't he like hand it back to him and he's like, "You'll appreciate this when you're older." Like,
no, he yelled at them. That's good advice. That's what he yelled at them when they're running away. They're just like, "Wow, Jimmy Dugan."
I think that's one of my favorite Tom Hanks roles. Like, honestly, because like everybody knows him as like, America's uncle. Like, he's just sweet and wonderful, and it's like, no, Jimmy Dugan's like a massive douchebag.
Yeah,
but like with a heart of gold. So you can't help but like, yeah. I just would have loved to have been on set when that movie got taped, just to drink with Rosie O'Donnell and Madonna and Tom Hanks.
Oh my God, like Lori Petty, like yeah, the cast. Like, I would love to hang out with all of those people.
Yeah,
I can only imagine. It's like one of those things where it's just immortalized, because it, like, the movie itself is legendary at this point, and just, it's one of those things where like it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. Like, they talk, it's so nostalgic. The movie itself is so nostalgic, and like, remember like how great the experience was and how many memories we built from this moment. And you feel that not only just watching that from the movie, but you get the sense of the cast when you're watching the movie. Like, that was probably the duality of it. Like, the cast was probably going through the same exact feeling while they were making the movie. Yeah. They were just like, this is just like one of the best times of our lives.
Yeah. And then at the end of the movie, like when they play the game, when they're playing baseball before the whole like induction into the Baseball Hall of Fame, whatever, the other team is made up of women from that era that were on those teams. And like, oh, I just get goosebumps. It makes me so, like, I just want to hug every single one of them. Like, it's so moving. It's so wonderful. Getting super emotional. Why am I getting like teared up right now?
Because it's that phenomenal movie. It's made with so much care. It's made with so much heart and respect and admiration for its source material. It's not exploitive in the slightest sense. I've heard like whenever I hear people like criticize, they're just like, "Oh, it's so schmaltzy," and like it's emotionally manipulative. I'm like, bitch.
First of all, heartfelt. Everything is emotionally manipulative.
I was like, it's a movie. Like, yeah,
emotions are manipulative.
and look, there's a difference between you're making a movie about people who are passionate about something and people who really cared about something. That will bleed into the film. And yeah, these women bled for this and they loved this and they poured their heart into it. The movie should be heartfelt. The movie should be emotional. The movie should have a like Hans Zimmer knocks it out of the park with that score. The movie should have like an amazing score that makes you feel it in your chest and knocks your socks off. And that's everything that it does.
Yeah. And I love that they took such care with everything, like I said, with it being period accurate and everything. But there's that one scene where a ball gets...
I know what you're about to say.
Where it gets hit off to the side. The black woman comes onto the field and takes it and throws it. And it lands in the pitcher's mitt. And she has to like shake her hand. And it's like this amazing like acknowledgement between Dottie and between this woman of like, we would love for you to play, but we know you can't. And like the fact that you get to play is like, it's just such a moving moment. And it did not have to be in there. That was not required. It didn't have anything to do with the story. It didn't affect any of the characters. It was literally a moment that got added as a nod to these women who were not able or not invited to play. And it's like, it's so fantastic.
That's one of the most poignant parts of the whole movie. Like, it's just like we're all caught up in like, like, oh, this was great. This this was like it's such a socially relevant moment because it's like, oh, this was great, and we're looking back on this, and this was a great moment, and where the story's focused on like, okay, here's all these women who had to like fight against expectations and the people trying to hold them back to just be successful and just get recognition in this league, and we're so swept up on that, and we're in the story and we're swept up on it, and the movie's like, hey, this is great, and we're not going to take anything away from that, but let's also keep it in perspective, like you said, like a little moment like that, hey, like we're invested in the plight that these women are going through, and let's keep it in perspective. Don't forget that at the same time, like Black women weren't even getting this opportunity that these white women are getting, like, and it's just like, fuck, you know, and the movie gives like a nod and respect to like, yeah, like women regardless of race, like you know, like there's this unity, like, you know, like unity, and it looks at the bigger picture without like putting somebody's struggle over somebody else's. I just, I love that moment.
It's so good. Chris sums it up perfectly. There is no crying in baseball, but for Schmodown, it's allowed. Yeah, we cry a lot in Schmodown.
There is a lot of crying in Showdown.
There's a lot of crying in Showdown. Happy tears and sad tears. And I love that movie so much. Like legit, when Rachel and Clark came out in the Peaches uniform, I was literally like, I remember watching and like it. I literally had a whole year between when I knew I was when Christian told me that whenever I was ready I could come in and compete, to actually physically being able to come in and complete an entire year. So I'm watching everything. I'm going back and deep diving, and I'm planning outfits and characters and music. Oh God, I miss planning my music. And like had all these great ideas, and then Rachel and Clark came out dressed as the Rockford Peaches, and I was like, well, there's that one off. And then Mark Ellis comes out dressed as a Newsie, and I was literally on tour with Newsies at the time, and have like, I don't know where it is right now, but I have like a legit like branded Newsies news cap and like a Newsies news bag, and like literally would have gotten all this, like I could have gotten all old costumes and like literally been a Newsie, and then he ruined that. So that was fun.
Hey, I will say that, and this is in no way a slight against anything that plenty of great male competitors do, but female competitors in SmackDown, we knew how to fucking cosplay. Okay, mm-hmm. I'm saying we, even though I'm not a part of it, but not yet. But the bar was always raised. All right, you guys knew how to show up and show up in costume, show up in character, and the costume game was on point.
Yeah, I mean, entrances are one thing, but cosplaying and like the costumes are completely different. Like I will give all of the support and props to William Bibiani for all of his great entrances. Like they're so fun and they're so cinematic and so great. But like, if you're not sitting or standing at that table wearing a girdle and Spanx and 4-inch heels that do not even get shown on camera, like I don't want to hear about it. If you're not having Jen Sturger spackle makeup on your face and spray a pound of hairspray into your hair so it doesn't move, like no. I will give props. I remember back in the day, Kalinowski used to dress up quite a bit, and that was really, really fun.
Yep.
I miss those days. Mm-hmm. It was slightly carefree, and everyone was just there to have fun. Now there's money on the line, so bitches gotta die.
So yes, bitches do have to die, but there's a middle ground. Like, you know, like we can marry the two. Okay, like we can kill bitches with style, and
for sure.
And I'm looking forward to when I get in there. Is trying to, like, as I like shake off, like as I get more comfortable too, you know, like I don't know what it's like to be, I have no experience in like performing or being a thing or a person in front of people. So I keep shaking some of that dust off every time I do this. But like, I'm really excited, like when I'm just like staring at a screen, it's fine. But like, I'm really excited to, like, I'm a different person when I'm like feeding off of people's energy in person. And like, I think that everybody is going to benefit from that. Like that is something that's going to be fun for everybody to have, like now this heightened sense of competitiveness, and mix that once we get back into studio, to mix that like head first with, like, you know, the theatricality of it all, you know. I I think that's going to be a beautiful thing. It's going to be even more hardcore. It's going to be the best version of Showdown like yet.
Yeah, it's definitely going to elevate it, and I'm very excited for that because there is something fun to like walking into, you know, the studio with like an entire suitcase full of like your costume and hair and makeup and like it's a blast. It's so much fun. I literally used to have like a prep bag in my car that had like a bottle of hairspray and like my teasing comb and like a set of makeup just for the Schmodown because it was like it had to get spackled on because you're under like the brightest lights and like HD cameras, and I'm like, no one wants to see that. It's like when porn got HD. It's like, whoa, please don't do that.
Never noticed that mole before.
Yeah. Like, you should probably get checked out. It's looking a little raggedy. Before we head on, guys, if you have any questions for Marisol or myself, hit the Streamlabs link down below. We do have one from Peggy. Hello, sweet girl. Said, I'm calling dibs right now. I don't yet have the costume, but if I'm lucky enough to get an in-studio match and I can figure it out, I got dibs on Becky, the Icebox O'Shea from Little Giants. Oh, girl, you know we're coming in with you dressed up as Little Giants. Oh, nice. My God, that was my jam back in the day. I mean, not just because Devin Sawa was like the man of our hearts.
He was a heartthrob in the early 90s, mid 90s.
Bitch, have you seen him? He's still yes, a good looking man.
He actually grew up
with kids and everything, but like,
yeah, he grew up pretty well.
Not hard on the eyes. I would love for them to come back, for him and Christina Ricci to come back and do a Casper sequel, or do a reboot and have them as like the parents of kids moving into a house with like a Casper. I think that would be amazing. I would love it. I
have no objections to another Casper movie. You could even bring back if you would even bring, if they could bring back the original cast and the original director. I don't know if the director is even still really directing, but I always kind of envisioned, if somebody was going to take it over, I always envisioned like Barry Sonnenfeld could make like a really, really great Casper movie. And that's a great idea. Like I don't even know why we didn't get a sequel to Casper, because Casper was a hit when it came out.
Yeah, actually, Peggy, I was just about to say, or Now and Then too. I mean, we did get to see them all grown up, but like now that we do have like all of the actresses like grown up now, like I think it would be fun, or just like a reunion show. Like that's one of my favorite things about this whole pandemic is the fact that everybody just got so bored that they're like, so let's all just get these casts together and hang out on Zoom. And I'm like, yes, please
do it.
Give me all of the content.
Give me all the cast reunions. That's just like, just take my money. Like you could charge me for that shit and I'll pay for it. I eat that shit up. I cried during that Fresh Prince reunion from like a few months back. That was emotion. I was not expecting the most like emotionally heavy shit of like the fall to be the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air reunion, but it was like it moved me. It got me to tears and stirred me, and I didn't realize that was what I needed. I didn't even realize I needed closure on that series or that show.
Right.
And it gave me the closure I wasn't even asking for. I was like, okay, wow, okay.
Yeah, for emotionality, it's definitely the Fresh Prince, not French Press, Fresh Prince Bel-Air reunion. There was one earlier in the pandemic, but it was an anniversary one, but I don't care. It was like a gift to me, and that was the Almost Famous one.
Oh, nice.
Like, I love that movie. I lived that movie. I cried. I was like, these are my people. Can we get another movie? That one and Fanboys is my favorite.
I've never seen Fanboys.
I know this is heresy, but for me, Fanboys is my favorite Star Wars movie, and I will fight till the death.
You fight.
Statement.
You fight for that. Do it. Because
I love that movie. I mean, you can't say it's not a Star Wars movie. It's about Star Wars, and Carrie Fisher is in it, and Jay and Silent Bob, but that's whatever. Carl Weathers is in it. Like, it's so good. It's so much fun. I highly recommend it. If you need it, I'll send you the file, because it's a movie that I think deserves to be watched over and over and over again.
I would probably dig it because like it's like you're saying, like some of the best movies ever, excuse me, and movies about that speak to like that really speak to the fandom of something are the movies that are literally about the fandom. Like I recently I was talking about Galaxy Quest the other week. And Galaxy Quest is one of just my favorite movies ever. Like,
Mhm.
you know, like easily my favorite. And to your point, like what you just said about Fanboys, I would say that Galaxy Quest is my favorite
Star Trek film.
Star Trek movie.
100%.
It's my favorite
It's
Star Trek movie.
it's so good. Like, and I know a few years ago this phrase got way overused, but it still applies. It's a love letter to fans. Like that's what it is, and that's what Fanboys is too. Because it's literally like the whole concept is these four boys growing up, like who are friends since like childhood, are growing up, kind of separate, and they go their own ways after high school. Find out that one of them has cancer. This is all in like the first 10 minutes, guys. I'm not spoiling anything. Find out that they have that one of them has cancer. They reconnect and go on a cross country road trip to go to Skywalker Ranch to steal a print of episode 1 because the kid's not going to last until episode 1. And it's like hijinks and ridiculousness, and they go to Vegas, and it's so much fun and so sweet. And like the whole time they're just these massive nerds like rolling around in a van with like sorcerers painted on the outside, and they're like wearing Chewbacca masks and rolling through drive-throughs like with stormtrooper masks on. It's so sweet and so funny. Also, Seth Rogen's in it, which makes it hilarious. Who plays 2 characters, funny enough. But yeah, those are my favorites of the dude. Yes, sorry, I don't know what's going on in the. You guys are having a great time in the chat, and I'm loving this. Yes, Sandlot and Now and Then is a great double feature. Sandlot is, again, one of those great sports movies that I don't think gets enough love, and it's so good. Benny the Jet Rodriguez? Are you kidding me? Like, I was so disappointed when I was little to find out that Benny the Jet wasn't actually playing for the Dodgers. Because we would go down to LA every summer, and I'd be like, "Great, let's go see Benny the Jet." My mom's like, "We're not going to go see Benny the Jet," and I'm like, "But."
She couldn't break it to you yet. She's just like, he's just not there today.
Yeah.
He's not playing today, sweetie.
Every time.
For the season.
No, you guys go off on your tangents. It's amazing. I love it. Every now and then I look over and I'm like, what are they talking about? It's great.
Is my mic, can you still hear me? Does my mic sound funny?
I can hear you. There's like a really low buzz to it, but it's not distracting me. Guys,
hold on one second. Okay. Let me just switch my headphones really, 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 really quick. Hold on one quick second.
That's totally fine. I can vamp. It's fine.
Sorry.
It's okay. I got you. Let's just do this. Wait for her to come back. Oh my gosh. Harriet the Spy. Now that's something I completely forgot about. Oh man, kids movies like that. There was a really good string of kids movies and like families movies in like the 90s into the maybe early 2000s. I don't know who had this, but oh, there she is. All right, let's see. Oh, now she's frozen. You good?
Yeah.
Perfect.
A little better?
Yeah.
Oh, good. Yay. Okay. Sorry for technical difficulties.
I know you're good. We were just reminiscing about how great like children and family movies were in like the 90s and like early 2000s. Like God, Free Willy.
You just took the words out of my mouth. Yeah. No. Free Willy, fucking Air Bud. Like movies. You know what separates those movies apart is that like they're so 90s movies in particular weren't afraid to go there. They weren't afraid to like show the rough edges and show like kids really going through like real hardships. Like foster kids were like the main character of like I feel like 50% of family movies in like the 90s. It was just like 90s movies didn't like I remember like Hocus Pocus on like not Hocus Pocus, well, Hocus Pocus, but like specifically like Under Wraps on like Disney Channel. Is like all these movies like didn't shy away from showing that like kids like had it like kids have their problems. Like yeah, like kids were usually from broken families or something like that. The kids were always struggling with something really serious. Yeah. You know, they either had like abusive parents or no parents or You know, they were like
Or
juvenile
neglectful
delinquents. Yeah. Like, you know, where they were abandoned in some way. And that's what just made them just so much more triumphant. Like there was always like they were so much more engaging
Mhm.
because like I remember just as a little kid, I would be like, yeah, this kid got dealt a hard hand, and this kid is like getting usually thrown into like this amazing situation, and this kid is like coming out on top. They were so awesome, and I just don't, you
They
know,
don't make them like they used to.
I really don't think they do.
No.
That sounds like the oldest person thing to say in the world, but like,
No, but
God
to be
damn
fair,
it.
they can't remake at least 80% of the movies from back then.
Right.
Because of like situational things. Like I actually love playing this game with myself when I watch a movie. If it's like 10 years or older. Usually if it's like 20 years or older, I like playing the game of how soon would this movie end with modern technology, and usually it's within the first like 5 minutes. But then there's also like how would this get shut down by modern day laws? So like child abandonment, or you know, like they could never remake Blank Check. Like that movie, like, can we get arrested by the IRS in like 3 days? Like, not happening.
Yeah.
But it was a great movie, and it was a great wish fulfillment for children back then. STYLE style. Love that movie. Yeah. What were some of your favorite childhood movies?
Well, you hit it with Free Willy. Like I did the test. Like I revisited Free Willy not too long ago, just to be like, oof, is this like a rose, you know, tinted glasses situation? Like, is this gonna look really rough? Like, you know, like whatever, 20 years later. Yeah. And I still loved it. So past the test, you know, I still found Free Willy really endearing. That was always up there. I don't get bogged down. I don't get bogged down too much with the irony of a movie about freeing a whale, stars a captive whale. But I just think that movie still works. The thematically, I think that movie still really works. Just about the loner outside kid bonding with a loner outside of an animal. You know, both captive in their own ways. And like, I just think it works thematically.
Yeah, I think the only thing that's super dated about that movie is the fact that, you know, there's a Michael Jackson song on it, and that's
but what a Michael
Jackson. I know, but it's one
of
those songs that like as soon as you hear the opening, like you can picture the entire music video in your brain.
Oh hell yeah. Oh yeah. I could picture him in a blouse with like a wind machine. Like I can picture all of it.
Standing on the causeway with his hand up. What kid didn't want to do that? What kid didn't want an orca whale to jump over them to escape to freedom?
Every kid I knew wanted that shit to happen. Yeah.
It was between that or starting a Babysitter's Club with my best friends. Because the Babysitter's Club, I mean, we grew up on all these great books too. Like, I don't think that there are like book series that children these days have to go off of, because we had like, well, at least I did. We had like the Boxcar Children, which again about homeless children. Yeah. There was, you know, Boxcar Children was great. I remember I had a whole series. We had Sweet Valley High. We had the Babysitter's Club, and then we had like the Junior Babysitter's Club, which I can't remember what that was, but like we had like all the Ramona books. Like there were so many amazing like stories for kids, and I don't like, guys, if I'm wrong, like please prove me wrong. Like I don't know if there's anything like that, or if those series have like prevailed and are either continuing on or like being reprinted for, you know, modern day kids. I just don't know anymore.
It's just a different time, and what you're talking about, like that Judy Blume era of like those kind of books. It's just like now, you know, like dystopian is like the template for how, you know, you appeal to like the demographic, like that demographic, and you have to tell a story in a extraordinary situation. Yeah, you know, and I'm not like knocking it. I'm just saying like that's very much, you know, like we also had a template, you know, like in the early 90s and stuff like that. There was definitely like everything you're describing. That was definitely like a type of way, like a type of situation, how they fed like stories to us as kids is like that a lot of like scrappy, like I'm describing, like exactly what we're describing, like the scrappiness and endurance of like kids, like with like either like isolated or alienated, like coming together and like bonding, you know?
I'm so sorry. I don't mean to laugh, but your partner, Adam Collins, decided to chime in with him ready for Zack Snyder's adaptation of Freckle Juice. Oh my God. Adam, my love, I adore you. And I will be getting in contact with you because I want you on the show coming up in the next few months.
Oh, you'll get gold like that and then some. That's just the beginning if you have Collins on your show.
Yeah, dude, Goosebumps. Like, do you remember the TV series of Goosebumps?
Fucking A, yeah.
Dude, those special effects were so bad, but they're so much fun to go back and watch now. Like just the mixing of like physical and like digital effects, it's amazing. It makes me laugh so hard.
Combination, I don't even know which one I liked more because I did enjoy Goosebumps, but Are You Afraid of the Dark was, I thought, some of like the best. It was like the Twilight Zone for young kids, for like tweens, yeah. And I, of course, loved Goosebumps, read Goosebumps, Bunnicula, like read that stuff, love that stuff. Gotta give props to Bunnicula, but but Are You Afraid of the Dark was like that show was excellent.
That show literally scared me as a kid. Like I remember there were some episodes where I was like, I don't want to go to bed tonight, Mom. Like, you're checking under the bed for monsters because that shit is real. But I because we graduated from like, you know, Free Willy to Nick Jr. And then Nickelodeon had Hey Dude, Clarissa Explains It All, Salute My Shorts, you know, like it was such a great era of like TV shows and stuff. I kind of miss it, but I think I miss the feeling that I had back when we were watching those as kids, you know, like that carefree, like I don't have anything to do but avoid my history homework until right before it's due. Like
exactly. And like that's the most important part. And I can only hope, like obviously we're not going to be looking at what's happening right now with the same goggles as we would have back then. I can only hope. I'm like really trying to keep my bias out of it. Like I just only hope that like, yeah, it's a different game, it's different content, there's different ways that kids are absorbing their content. So it's almost like it's impossible to like compare the two because like there's just the game has changed so much. But I can only hope that you're saying like kids growing up are getting the same thing, like getting that same feeling, the things that we're just so excited about and just make our hearts just explode thinking back on it. I can only hope that the kids now are getting those same feelings, like getting that same, whatever it is that, you know, whatever scratches your itch, man, whatever pops your cherry. I just hope that like they're just getting that same genuine thrill and their souls are being like stirred and roused and all that good shit.
I hope that there's something these days that provokes the same reaction in them that the notification of the Scholastic Book Fair evoked in all of us. Do you not you remember that rush when like you came into class and there was the order form on everyone's desk and you were like, this is the best day ever, and the smell of it, oh my god, do you remember the smell of that magazine? Oh my god, it smells so good. It smelled,
I don't think I
smelled like childhood happiness. It was the best. And then you like saved up all year because like you just wanted to buy everything, and then you had to buy, you know, the poster of JTT, even though he sadly fights for our team now.
Wait, I'm so out of the loop on what he's doing nowadays.
Oh, he's gay. Oh yeah, this is like 10 years ago. Yeah, JTT came out as gay. He like teaches or something now, I think. Hey, we've got a POV raid. Hey guys.
Hey, yay!
I love all you guys. It's the best. I am happy. I love the pizzas. All these new people. Free Pizza Hut for, yeah, dude. Oh man, I miss pizza parties. I miss them with all of my heart. Molly, girl. I think we need to have like when live events we just are able to record whatever. I think that every time people come in, I think we just need to have like a whole bunch of like all of the girls come together for like a sleepover. and just like have that hangout time because I love every single one of you guys. You guys are the best.
I'm very, very, very open to that. Especially after like a year of like isolation. I'm just like I've devolved so aggressively. Like I'm just the most socially I'm the most
I know
socially inept person you could imagine right now.
I know about a month in, because I was doing really well the first like 4 weeks, because I was like, I saw the writing on the wall, and I was like, this is a marathon, this isn't a sprint, so I'm just gonna like cool my tits and like hang out for a second. And I just remember like it was just such a weird feeling when I realized that I had regressed to my tour sleep schedule. And I was waking up at like 1:00 in the afternoon and like not going to bed until like 3:00 in the morning. And I was like, oh no, we can't do this. Still trying to kick it. It's been a while. But yeah, it's rough. I do really enjoy like being up late at night and being the only one awake though. That's really fun.
Oh yeah, I've always been a night owl, and you hit the nail on the head. One of the things I love about being a night owl is the isolation of it. I just love, you know, I just love being active and awake at the moment where like nobody else is like intruding. Like, you know, like nobody else is. It's just like, it sounds weird. Maybe that's why I'm so okay during this quarantine. Maybe that's just like, well, nothing has really changed for me. Like, I don't know. But yeah, there's beautiful things. There's so many great things about spending time with people and feeding off of energy and connecting with people. And there's also so many things to be said about me, myself, and I, like, you know, like that personal time with yourself. There's so much to be said for that.
Yeah, it is really nice though, walking through the apartment or the house, wherever you are, in the middle of the night and just feeling like the Phantom of the Opera, just being like, or maybe that's just me and my theater kid.
Well, I've never walked around at the end of the night a Phantom of the Opera, but I do play Phantom of the Opera on the piano. I love it's one of my favorite things. Like my parents got me and my sister like the book from, or the sheet music. From the musical. So I just love playing almost all of them. Music of the Night is like my favorite one to play. Oh. But I just love playing, like, that is kind of my escape through that. Like, I just love escaping through the music and just playing the music on the piano. And that's so transportive for me. And I just fucking love it.
Yeah. I remember as a kid, I have the cassettes of the Broadway show. And I would listen to them over and over again. And I just remember being like 9 or 10 and being so massively confused why Christine picks Raoul over the Phantom at 10. And like, I kept like, I tried to have like these discussions with my parents, and I was like, but why Raoul? And they're like, because that's the way it was written. Calm down, right, Victor Hugo? And I was like, all right. I was like, fine. And then like, I grew up and my parents were like, why are you the way you were? And I'm like, hey, I asked you these questions when I was younger. You did nothing to determine.
I was gonna say, did like your parents weren't like, uh-oh, like they're just like
no red flags. It was like that's sweet, like like I was running around the house at 5 singing Dance 10 Looks 3 from Chorus Line, and they're shocked that I turned out the way I am. It's like my favorite. I love that.
That's fair. I could see that argument, but the second I like understand, and I love that take, and I understand it. But like then the second, I think what really changed dramatically for me was the second that the Joel Schumacher version came out. That movie came out, and Patrick Wilson was Raoul all of a sudden, and I was just like, well, the case closed. I was just like,
Patrick Wilson and Jerry B. Like, really? I was still like that. Even solidified my opinion. I was like, girl, this is stupid. Like, you're an idiot. Like,
okay, that's fair. Your team Jerry. Okay,
well,
I'm just gonna call him Jerry. Your team Jerry. I'm team Patrick.
I am team Jerry B. However, it's also because of the fact, like, and I've talked about this on the show a few times, but have you ever seen the movie Hard Candy?
Yes.
That movie, he did such a great job in that role in that movie that it made me biased against him as a human being for like 10 years after that. Like, every time I saw him, I'm like, you're a fucking child molester. Like, He did such a good job that I still was like, it literally took until I saw him in The Conjuring to be like, okay, you're handsome.
You know, I love that you brought that up, because that's how much of a shameless hoe I am for Patrick Wilson, is because I watched Hard Candy and I was just like, I know he didn't mean it, so it's cool. Like, I'm just like, I was just like, in my mind, there were so many, like, I was able to just separate it so much and just be like, I know this is just a role, you know?
Yeah.
I know that my Patrick is not like this, so I'm cool. I'm good. I'm cool.
Yeah, I know. Adam's in here. He goes, just thinking of it as picking. I mean, yes. See, I know, but what can I say? I'm a sucker for a roughneck, and Jerry B is nothing but a roughneck. Like, if you boil it, like I love me some blue collared men, and he is definitely blue collared. But that's just
for sure. Endearing as hell. It is case by case for me. Absolutely.
See, my friends and fans know me. Like, yes, I am a lumbersexual for sure. Give them to me tall and broad. I'm happy.
I just went through an intense. I like, Patrick Wilson could do no wrong for me in the 2000s, and he was just knocking it out of the park. Like, it was for, like, with Phantom of the Opera, Little Children, and then like Watchmen. Like, I was just eating up everything that man did. It's so much like I said, like, I watched Hard Candy, I was just like, this is a great performance. Moving on.
No, that movie fucked me up. Like, bad. I think I saw it like right when it came out too. So I think I was too old for it to where it should have affected me as strongly as it did. But my movie's still, like, when I see Elliot Page, I'm still always like, 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 it just gives me that instant, like, massive just shot of adrenaline and rage and protectiveness. I don't know. Regardless, the Joel Schumacher, everybody ragged on the Phantom of the Opera, and I was like, it was so old. Are you kidding me? Like, that was a feat. Like,
the production value of that in that movie, the production design in that movie is off the chain.
It's so
okay. That is, I don't think we're going to get a more impressive, lavish looking adaptation of Phantom of the Opera than the Schumacher version. I have enough problems with Joel Schumacher as a filmmaker, but you got to give credit where credit is due with that movie.
It was stunningly done. Although I do prefer watching Moulin Rouge. I love the theatrics of it. Like, the whole, like, that movie was made for Baz Luhrmann to make. Like, 100. Like, nobody could have made it like Baz did. That movie's so good. Now we're talking about musicals, and it's making me happy. Because no one talks about musicals with me. Everyone's like, musicals. And I'm like, no, they're so pretty. They're so good. Are you a musical theater kid?
Nope, not at all. I was an artist. Like, I drew a lot. I was an artistic kid, but I spent so much time in sports that was my extracurricular was sports. And then like, art and drawing as like a hobby. But like, sports is where, like, all my extracurricular time went in school. I still have an appreciation for musicals, though, man. Like, I really do love some, but I didn't like live it. Like, I didn't like live and breathe it.
Yeah, so. I don't think I lived and breathed it. I did get to help choreograph as a sophomore, and they were doing the spring musical was Sweet Charity, and I did get to help choreograph that, which was so much fun. But yeah, I was a cheerleader all 4 years of high school, so like, nice. You don't get to do anything but that for the most part. That shit is grueling.
Oh, so what do you think about? So is Bring It On like one of your favorite movies? Because it's one of my favorite movies.
100%. First of all, that movie came out when I was a cheer captain. So like, and I was working at the movie theater. So as soon as I heard rumors of a movie about cheerleaders, I went to my managers and I was like, hey, if we get this movie and we screen it, can I bring in my squad? There's like 35 of us, like, all obviously high school teenage girls. I'll screen it so it gets done, but just know that it'll be like a little ruckus. And they're like, yeah, sure, whatever. So like months go by and we get it. And I was like, so I'm bringing in my friends tonight. They're like, what? And I was like, you agree.
No takebacks. Okay, we're coming.
Yeah, there were moments when my friends and I literally looked at each other and were like, did they stalk us while they were writing this? Because like legit, we've been looking at each other going, oh, tear, for like 3 years before this movie came out. So I'm just like, I don't know what's going on. I love
That's awesome.
So fucking much.
That movie's excellent. That movie's fucking excellent. It's it needs to enter the conversation of, I know A League of Their Own is in the conversation, but Bring It On needs to just be in the conversation when people are just talking about like the best sports movies of all time. Bring It On needs to be in the conversation.
Because it definitely is a sport. And if somebody says that it's not, then I have hospital bills to show you for dislocations and concussions.
Right. That movie is like all about like the devotion and commitment that it takes. Yeah. That's the whole point of the movie, that like cheerleading is fucking legit. It's
like, I played softball for 10 years growing up. Like, you practice and everything, but there's like a weekly schedule. Cheerleading, you are 24/7 living, breathing, eating, crying, sleeping. Like, that's all you do is cheer. It is intense and so much fun. I kind of miss it. But no, I mean, it's really great. Plus, it has a great soundtrack. And although at this point I can't watch cheerleading movies because like I know the rules for like the competition, and I'll just be like, that move's illegal.
Oh.
Like, you're not allowed to go that high. You're only allowed to go too high. You can't have somebody like you. Like, I become such an ass when it comes to that stuff. Yeah, dude, Gabrielle Union, I'm convinced is a witch. She posted side-by-side photos of her like from Bring It On and like her like current day, and I responded with, I know you live in LA, so I don't know where you're getting the virgin's blood to bathe in, but you look amazing. #witchcraft to the max or something like that. And she responded back like crying, laughing. I was like, no, it's true. Like, come
on. Yeah, it's alarming. That woman is immortal.
Yeah.
Like, she is immortal. Yeah. She is 50, about to be 50.
What?
Like she's 40, 48. I think.
No, that's 100% witchcraft.
Yeah, and she's doing something right. I mean, so I've always, at the same time, like I play it both sides, because at the same time I'm like, oh, because I like to give credit where credit is due, but I also don't want to be that naive that I'm like, oh my God, somehow the millionaires who are actors are the only people who have figured out how to stay young and beautiful forever. What is this sorcery? Like, like it's not a coincidence.
It comes down to nannies, personal chefs, and personal trainers,
nutritionists, plastic surgeons. Like look, if I had a whole fucking SWAT team around the clock to make sure that to make sure they like laser beamed every centimeter of cellulite off of my ass, I would probably look kind of cool too. Yeah. I'll probably look like my best me as well. So I try to keep it in perspective while also just at the same time acknowledging how much effort that still takes. Like when you are in the business of like maintaining yourself and making sure that you have the best skincare possible and take care of yourself like in peak, it's not an excuse. That still requires a fuck ton of effort and commitment. Like, and if you got the means to do it, go ahead and do it. And those people all deserve still like the props for looking as phenomenal, phenomenal as they do.
Yeah, I think Amblin Soul has sorcery equals money. Although there have been a few movies that have come out like Satanic Panic and stuff like that, where it's like, the rich and the powerful like are actually in a cult and they just like sacrifice people for their youth and beauty. And I'm like, I could 100% see that going down in LA. That's believable.
That might be it too. You could probably get Jordan Peele to make that movie about like.
Oh my God! Somebody call them. Call them. I want that movie.
Get them on the phone.
That would be so good. Yeah. It would be so funny. It would have a great soundtrack too.
Oh yeah.
It would be so much fun. I mean, well, they kind of, what was the movie? Death Becomes Her kind of deals with that.
Oh yeah, that movie's so great.
It's so good.
Oh god, that movie's so
I
great.
remember not being allowed to watch it when I was a kid, but I remember knowing the line, "You're a fraud, you're a walking lie, and I can see right through you."
Right
Like,
through you.
like I just remember knowing that when I was like 9 or something like that. And I'm like, why do I know this line and I can't watch the movie? My parents are like, you'll be scared. I'm like, okay.
Not really. Like it's like if you could watch Addams Family, Casper,
Yeah.
you know, like Death Becomes Her is on that level. Beetlejuice, like you know, like if you can watch those movies, Death Becomes Her is right in that wheelhouse.
If you grew up reading scary stories to tell in the dark underneath your bed sheet with a flashlight, scared to death to turn it off, like you can watch that movie. Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. I always love when Meryl Streep. I love when she steps into comedy. Like she's made such a career out of being a dramatic actress, but like her comedy roles are just so memorable, so great, such a delight.
As long as she stays away from musicals.
Okay, well, I know how you feel about that now.
Stop casting Meryl Streep in musicals, please. Please stop.
No, they will never.
Please stop.
Will never stop.
I know she's queen of everything, but like, can we just deny her this one thing, please? I mean, I'm just really angry. Maybe I'm just bitter because they didn't bring back Bernadette Peters to play the witch in Into the Woods. And like, that was my dream cast beyond all dream cast, just to see her come back in that role because it's so good, it's so hers. And she's still doing stuff. Like she's still on she's like a guest on a Zoe's Extraordinary Playlist, and she's amazing. She's coming back too this season. I got the inside scoop. I'm so
nice. I have yet to watch that. I'm sure you have, as like a musical junkie. I'm sure you have feels and opinions about like what you just kind of alluded to, like this lean now with in the last like couple decades with musicals, where like musicals are leaning into just like hiring just like actors and not actual Broadway performers, like not actual singers and like performers. They just would rather really insist on having Emma Stone and Pierce Brosnan and Russell Crowe in their musicals rather than actual
people who can sing.
Hyphenate, like actually multi-talented, like as if there's some shortage in LA all of a sudden.
Right.
I don't know. As if there's some shortage in Hollywood of like people who can sing, dance, and act.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
For a living. Who'd have thought? No, I do know that like, because music, like, and I understand the thought behind it is like musicals don't attract a lot of people, so they have to have big names in the movie in order to attract people to come see it, to earn the money back and everything. And I get that, but like, can you just give them voice lessons? Like, there are some actors and actresses who can sing. Yes, Amlin Soul, 100%. Neil Patrick Harris should be in every musical. He's amazing and talented and wonderful. Hugh Jackman started off as like he played Gaston on stage for Beauty and the Beast in Australia. He was Curly in Oklahoma. Like those guys can sing, and every now and then you get surprised by like Ewan McGregor in Moulin Rouge who can sing. Like, but then you find people that you're like, oh well, we just want to put them in a movie. They're hot right now, and it's like, okay.
Yeah, I think one of the best examples of like that, like what you just said, and like somebody who's like, oh wait, they're amazing, is like Beauty and the Beast, when unfortunately you had Emma Stone, where like all the auto-tune in the world like couldn't help her, but then like Luke Evans would show up and you were just like, oh my god, like I had no idea Luke Evans could sing like that, and then he started singing. Like fucking A, put Jeremy Renner in a musical, because that guy actually has pipes. He's so busy singing on like Conan or whatever. Like, you know, when like put him in a musical. Like I just think like you're saying, like they're really trying to get big names, but I just think like more work can be done, because there are big names out there who can sing. Yeah. Like if that's what they're going for, and I get it, I understand. They're just more careful casting choices they can make, because there are big names out there who can sing. Yeah. Obviously Emily Blunt can. And Yeah, I just need to be more careful with the casting.
Yeah. If only people would listen to us.
Okay.
Wait.
Someday when we rule the world.
What music video was Jeremy Renner in?
That makes sense.
I'm very confused.
I don't know, but that makes sense.
Was he in a musical the way that like oh my God, what's her name? Monica from Friends.
Courtney Cox was in the Bruce Springsteen video.
The Carlton before the Carlton happened. What a great memory, though, to be like, no, I was in a fucking Bruce Springsteen live shot music video. Like, that's amazing. Oh my God, if we could get John Barrowman in everything. Do you know who John Barrowman is?
I don't. Educate me.
So John Barrowman he's a British actor who, is he British or Scottish? But he was in Doctor Who and plays Captain Jack, and he is drop dead sexy and so cheeky and wonderful and weird and just like funny, but he can sing like nobody's business, and it's really, really obnoxious. You're like, okay, you're beautiful and talented and nice. Like, can you please stop? Like, you know my aggressive love. I'm like, oh, you're too wonderful. Stop it.
It's sticking me.
Yeah, you're so perfect. I hate you with all of the love in my heart. Oh, he was in trouble. Oh my God. I'm trouble now.
Oh.
I forgot about that. So was Tom Dagnino. Yeah. As wait, where is it? Yeah. Tom Dagnino was in trouble. He plays
Are you guys shitting me?
No, I'm not at all. I can't remember who was on that. Like, we literally pulled up the clip of it, but you can vaguely see him. Tom plays one of the insane asylum like workers that like hauls her off, and you can see like you see like here, and like he's smiling. You could tell like you're like 100% like that's fucking Tom.
He's not wearing the fin sock thing. Yeah, he's not wearing that. No, they made him take it off. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think it was allowed on set. Oh my God, that thing smelled so bad.
Ew.
It smelled so, yeah.
It's a detail I never wanted to know.
Somebody asked if I wanted to wear it, and I was like, when was the last time this was washed? I like smelled it, and I was like, this smells like beard sweat. Like,
it's like Lucky Socks is like, I don't wash it for good luck.
Right?
Yeah.
It's like, wow, those can stand up in the corner by themselves. Awesome.
Ooh.
Yeah. That's one thing I don't miss about sports is the superstition of like, I can't wash my socks. I can't wash my visor. We had one girl like that on my softball team that like never washed her visor. And I'm like, that holds all of the sweat from your head. Like, we just hose it off. Like,
that is like a sweat sponge. That is literally its purpose. That's like that part in League of Their Own where Jimmy walks in. He's like, what is that smell? And like, and they're like, Alice thinks it's bad luck to change her socks. And he's like, so we all have to suffer? Jesus Christ.
Move it, Alice. Move
it. You're goddamn killing me.
Oh, Jimmy Dugan is just the best.
He's the greatest.
I think I love Jimmy Dugan because he reminds me of my dad when he used to coach us. I have two sisters. I have one 2 years older and one 4 years younger. And so my older sister and I, when I got to be like, I think it was like 12 or 13, we were finally in like the same league together, the same division for softball.
Yeah.
And he would coach the two of us. And there's this one game we were tied. We were the visiting team. We were tied in the 9th inning. And we got 2 outs, and then I ended up walking the bases full. And I had like the last, like a batter was about to come up. My dad calls timeout and he walks to the mound. My dad looks like Stallone, but 6'2" instead of like 5'6". So he was a very
more
large,
terrifying. Yeah.
Man. He's competing. Like he used to bodybuild and everything. Like he was a big, big man.
Yeah.
So he walks out, hands on his hips. And I'm just I'm like 12, standing on the pitcher's mound, just like trying not to like succumb to the tears that are like welling up in me because I feel like I'm letting everybody down, and we were so ready to win, and then I like fucked up, and my dad walks over to me and he very, very quickly puts his hands on my shoulders, like right next to my neck, and starts shaking me and yelling at me, "What are you doing out here. And I start crying laughing. I'm laughing so hard. Like all of the sides, the parents from both sides come out and they're like trying to get him off. They're like, Craig, what are you doing? Meanwhile, the umpire behind home plate is doubled over laughing because his daughter went to school with my dad and has known my dad since he was like 10. And he knows that he would never hurt his kid. Like, this is just like him snapping me out of it. And so like John's behind the plate, just like doubled over laughing. Like he had to take like the big like pad off and like bent over like laughing. Parent like finally like the parents get off and John comes up and he's like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "I'm fine. Get your ass behind the plate." Like let's do this. And I threw 3 strikes and we were done. It's like my dad just very much reminded me of Jimmy Dugan. I love that character.
Yeah, it's legendary. To be fair, I guess that's like at least that was the right reaction. Like for all the parents out there who didn't know your dad or didn't understand that, at least that was the right reaction. At least they should have been like, "Oh my God, we must stop that man from whatever he's doing to that."
Well, I think what happened is that they heard my reaction, my verbal like yelp, but it was me laughing and not me crying or like yelling in pain. So I think that had something to do with it, but whatever, at least it was fun and we won. So fuck it. But yeah, it was very much the same energy after Jimmy beans the kid with the oh my God. with the glove. We're gonna win. We're gonna win. Oh my God. The look on that kid's face when it hits him in the face.
He's like, oh.
So stunned.
He's like, I'm going down. And like nobody acts. Everybody was like, that's what that little fucker gets. Yeah.
And his mom doesn't even react. She's Stillwell, get in the dugout.
The mom even knows that's what he gets. Yeah.
She's like, I don't know what to do with him anymore. Stillwell Angel. That fucking movie. Everything comes back to that movie.
Yeah.
Well, you mentioned before that like you let the music of Phantom of the Opera kind of help you get away from everything. Well, what's your other like favorite music to listen to that like takes you down or lifts you up or lets you scream till your lungs give out?
I'm a movie person before a music person. So movies where I just get I really go deep on movies. Music, I don't really have a philosophy.
Jake just wants to say goodnight before he has to leave. Says Marisol's the best. That's the comment. I'm out. Have a good night.
You're the best, Jake.
Love you, Jake. I can't wait to see him. I get to see him in like 2 weeks. I'm very, 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 very excited.
Oh, nice.
Sorry.
Jealous.
Yes.
Nice.
So you're looking for music, but
yeah, music. It's such a gut reaction. Like, so what that means about like with my taste with music, it's just like I just gravitate towards what makes me feel the feels. Like, like it's almost primal, like my relationship with music. I don't really have a pattern to it. I don't have a philosophy to it. Like I don't put like, I'm not a snob about it. I'm not like, like this is actual music and this is unworthy of my time. Like, I'm just like, dude, I fucking love, I will trance out to Queen music. And as much as I like generally don't like Miley Cyrus, I've banged out to a couple Miley Cyrus songs. Like it just happens. It's just whatever mood I'm in for. I extract just feelings and moods from music, and that covers all my bases. Like whatever mood I'm in, if like things will just hit me. Yeah, I'm very evocative when it comes to music. So I do have like things that I gravitate towards, like people who have certain vibes that I gravitate towards. Like I said, like Queen, is usually like comfort. Like I'm almost always in the mood for Queen, no matter what. I love Queen.
Because Freddie is the best.
Because he's a legend. He's otherworldly. He was otherworldly. And he's immortal through his music. Yeah. But I really do vibe out on Alicia Keys.
She needs to release more albums.
Yeah. I'm a patient woman, but yeah, like she does. I really get into mood. Sometimes I'm really, really, really in the mood for Lana Del Rey. Um, um, and I've always loved the Killers. Those are kind of like people that I really do gravitate towards. But I think the number one thing that like is like what you're saying, like comfort, like is just like an escape for me is scores, like movie scores. Like that is probably what, if like you peel through my history on Spotify, I devote the most of my time just listening to the scores from movies. Sometimes specific albums from like a film, or just sometimes just rotating, just shuffling. I feel the closest to music when there's just like usually just not even lyrics involved. When it's just the emotions that the instruments like put in you. And it's my favorite shit to listen to. And then it's like that combined with like tying it into like the memories that I have from whatever movie that might be from that I've watched. You know, there's so much stimulation going on when I listen to like movie scores. That's like one of my favorite things to listen to.
So have you, excuse me, apparently I'm hitting puberty again. So how did you like, sorry. It just comes out every now and then. So what was your very first concert?
Oh God, fuck, Dave Matthews Band.
Nice.
Yeah. I forgot to say them. They are a go-to. Like I should have said them after Queen. Dave Matthews Band is a go-to. Oh God. Yeah. That was my first. I've seen them 4 times. And they were the first concert that I actually really remember going to. I love those guys. I don't really have much to say. It's always a different experience. They could have the same set list at every single concert, and it will be a different experience.
Well, yeah.
At each one of those concerts. Like I get lost. I go into another world.
Well, they do have like the most amazing jam band session, like tangents ever. Yeah. I actually was lucky enough to, it was a graduation present. So the day after our senior prom, Dave Matthews they were doing 2 concerts up here in San Jose. And so the first night was our prom, and we got to we were on a paddle boat, like massive, like old school steamer type thing in the Bay Area. And we convinced our driver or our captain to go down as close to the event as possible. And we dropped anchor and listened to Dave Matthews for a little bit. But then the next night, we all went and got to see him. And as a graduation present, a friend of mine somehow found a bootleg version, like a bootleg copy of that concert that we all went to, and gave everybody CDs of the concert that we all went to. And it was the most amazing thing. And every now and then I'll just go back and listen to it, and I feel like I'm 18 again.
Yeah.
On the grass in 80-degree weather with my friends, knowing that school's done and we're graduating. It's the most hopeful feeling ever. And I try not to do it too much because, then you start feeling hopeful. It's a dangerous feeling. Too much of a good thing.
Really. Beyond those delusions. Yeah.
So then that was your first, but do you remember what your favorite concert was, or is that your favorite?
My favorite was, I went to a Gorillaz concert a couple years ago. Gorillaz is my shit. I forgot to mention them too.
I am so
fuck with the Gorillaz.
Jealous.
Yeah. And it was in the rain too. It started to rain on us. It was outdoors. It was on a pier. It was on a pier landing in Philadelphia, and it started to rain.
I know exactly what you're talking about. I know exactly that location.
Nice.
I know exactly where that fucking thing is. Oh my God.
Yeah, it was one of my favorite shows I've ever been to. Humans had just came out. Humans had just recently enough come out, and that was their set list was mostly Humans. And so I guess other people hadn't really really listened to the album yet, but I had been listening to that album nonstop. So they were playing so much from it, and I was just at full volume. I was just screaming all the lyrics, all the songs they were playing, and I was just at the same time I was having a Shawshank moment. The rain was just falling down on me while I was singing. It was that music, that concert was one of my favorite that I've ever been to.
Oh man,
It was pretty dope.
I had the opportunity to go see the Gorillaz, and I couldn't go. I was so angry, and like immediately after they were like, that was our last show, and I was like, no, it was so sad. But yeah, there is something magical about those, like, as you refer to as the Shawshank moment, like when you're outside experiencing music and like it's cold, it's rainy, it's whatever. I had that with Brand New in Chicago, and like it was on a softball field, and it had been raining like all day, so like the mud is like up to your shins.
Yeah.
And everyone, like, you can't dance around because it's so dangerous because your feet sink in and you don't want to like break your ankle or like dislocate your knee. So literally everybody just got as close as they could safely. And then literally everybody just like threw their arms around each other. And we had like the most amazing like group sway, just experience ever. And it's still raining. And all of a sudden you're, I am heaven sent, and like you hear the guitar go, and you're just, oh, it's just so good. Don't you dare forget. It's just the best.
Yeah, that's perfect. Like it doesn't happen that often, but like there's something so, like I was saying, like can be something so primal about like music and the enjoyment of music and bonding, like connecting with other people, and then you throw like the elements into that, and you've just got like a recipe for just like an outer body experience, pretty much.
Yeah,
that and probably the contact high from all the people, getting smoking at the concert.
Were they
all that together?
Were they feeling good?
Yes, very much. Very much.
Sorry, I've been waiting to make that joke since like since you mentioned them, and I was like, feel good. Done.
And I usually don't. Like, I know some people, their thing is to like, like I get high or get baked, get completely stoned, like before concerts, because that like adds to it for them. I usually don't. And the point is like because like you're usually going to get an intense contact high, especially going to Dave Matthews concerts. Like you usually get contact high anyway from those things, that I'm usually like, why waste the money? I'm going to get nice and cozy. I'm going to get toasty just hanging next to people at the concert. But
or you just make friends with the person next to you and you shotgun it, like it's fine. Yeah, you're good.
That too. But yeah, the great thing about those kind of concerts is no matter what, you're still going to have an amazing experience. I think close after the Gorillaz concert was a Sons of the Sea concert I went to a few years before that. And Sons of the Sea is like from Incubus. They're like Brandon, like he went off and created like a like, I guess whatever you want to call it, like another like side band.
It was another community project.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. He had another side project, and they didn't do many shows, but they had come to a great venue near my apartment in Philly, and I went to that, and that was also one of just because I was also really into Incubus for like a stretch. That concert was also one of my favorites.
I remember when Megalomaniac was playing like every hour on every fucking station. And I was like, oh my God, we get it. Bush is awful. And then like, I was so angry when we got, when we had the Cheeto in the office and they didn't play Megalomaniac on the radio. And I was like, guys, this is the perfect situation to play this music. But no.
That's how that goes. That's exactly how that goes.
Yeah. God. Brandon Flowers. Wait, not Flowers. Flowers is
from the Killers.
Flowers.
I don't know why I'm blanking on Brandon's last name right now. I don't know. It's not Flowers because I loved both of them at the same time. Boyd. Brandon Boyd.
Incubus was supposed to play some K-Rock show in LA at Irvine. I think it was one of the weenie roasts that I went to. Because you know how like all of like everywhere across the country in like major cities, like it's the kickoff to summer festival. Weenie Roast is the one in LA, and Incubus was supposed to play, and I guess like the entire band minus Brandon got super sick, so they were going to cancel, but instead Brandon contacted like UC Irvine's men's choral department and got the men's chorus to come and sing a cappella backup for him in front of like this massive crowd. And I was like,
wow.
I really wanted to sing Incubus, but like it was such a great experience for them because apparently like all of the seniors were missing their graduation so that they could sing and back up Brandon Boyd. And I'm like, no, that's the right choice.
That's
like,
the right choice.
100%.
That's the right choice as far as I'm concerned. That's an extraordinary solution.
Yeah, and it sounded amazing. It was so good. It was like going to church, but like without the judgment.
That's my kind of church.
Without having to pick up my tattoos.
And they banned me. They don't let me back in anymore.
The water just starts to sizzle at the entrance when I start walking up. Like, damn right, just call me Al Pacino, bitch. Yeah, given an unlimited budget, who would you book for a festival? Who are like the top like 5 bands you would want to see at a festival?
Oh fuck.
Yeah, we're getting hard, man. Wait, crazy. So I'm guessing Queen, because we can do Dead or Alive. Fuck it.
Okay, all right. This is
because I'm with you. Like Queen is like if I could change things, if I could literally give up the last 10 years of my life, I would if I could be on stage at the Wimbledon concert for Queen. Like if I was standing side stage or like in the crowd in the sound booth, I would 100% give up the last 10 years of my life for that concert.
Yeah. I'm not mad at that. Easily Queen. Oof, God, this is so, it gets more impossible to pick. Like I can't, I'm just gonna be biased. Like I'm just gonna pick like some of my favorites.
Yeah.
Like that I would take no matter what. I'm gonna have to put Zeppelin in there. Zeppelin has to be there.
Nice.
I don't know if he qualifies as a band, but he should because his music is some of the most collaborative, amazing music ever is Stevie Wonder. Like I want Stevie Wonder to be there just to see the gold that Stevie Wonder will spin with all the people who play with him on stage.
Oh yeah, no, and he's there with like a string section and a chorus and a horn section. No, he's getting the full like no, we need
you can blow your budget on Stevie Wonder and whoever he's going to bring there. I would absolutely include Stevie Wonder. Absolutely include Zeppelin.
Because how great would it be if Zeppelin or if all 3 of their lead singers like just got together and sang a song. That makes me happy. That thought collaborations is a really good thing to think of.
Yep. Like, and it's hard not to think of. It's hard not to think of in my jam bands when I start. If we want to talk about people who are good at that, but I won't pick Dave Matthews. I also really, I don't want to waste these. Edward Sharpe and the Magnetic Zeros would probably do a movie for like, they would probably do a show for like $5. So like, I like they.
Well, we'll give them money. We just have literally, this is like, whatever you want, we will book them. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Edward Sharpe, that's a band I haven't heard mentioned in a while.
Yeah.
They're really good. Guys, check them out.
They were their first like 3 albums were pretty tight. I have those three, and then I would also really, really, really love to have Earth, Wind, and Fire in there. I would really love to have Earth, Wind, and Fire in there.
Yes,
that would make me really happy. Because funk music, like that music knows no bounds, and you can have like a 48-hour show if you have people like that up on the stage. Those are
5 really solid picks.
Oh, who's the fifth? Oh God, I don't know who the
You
fifth
have
is.
5. That's 5.
Oh, okay. That'll be my 5.
We got
Okay.
Queen, Zeppelin, who
Stevie
else?
Wonder.
Stevie Wonder, Magnetic Zeros, and Earth, Wind, and Fire. That's
Okay,
a fucking
that's my 5.
great set. Fuck yes.
I'll be on cloud 9 with that set. There's just your sets.
There's something just magical about funk music. Like if you need to clean your if there's an activity on your checklist that has you just been putting off and putting off and putting off, put on some funk music and do it, and you don't care anymore. Like it's just the best. It's so much fun.
Yeah, I'm all about those feels, and funk is one of those genres that just erases any kind of stress, anything from my mind. Like it's some of the most like alleviating music I could think of.
It's like the marijuana of music. Like it makes you dance. It makes you giggle.
Weed turns me into like a pool of like mush, so it's not quite as stimulating. Like I will like, at least for me, like I need something like funk, like gets you up, it's like soul affirming, like it lifts you up. Weed.
Okay, so it's the sativa of pod.
There you go.
Not the indica. Somebody once explained it to me because I couldn't keep the indica and sativa straight in my head. I always confused them for the effect that they would have on you. And somebody said indica keeps you in the couch. And I was like, that's the most perfect definition I've ever heard in my life. So yeah, so funk music is the sativa of pot. It's really, really great. It's the sativa pot of music.
Coin it.
Hell yes. Groove September and Boogie Wonderland. Oh, Boogie Wonderland. If you don't dance to Boogie Wonderland, like I'm instantly thinking that you're a zombie. Like, like honestly, I think that would be the hardest thing about a zombie apocalypse is like the lack of music.
Yeah, you just better hope that I guess you can't even charge your like iPod or whatever. Yeah, I was gonna say as long as you can shuffle, but you can't do that.
I mean, unless there's some way, like, see, that's why you should always be friends with people who are technologically advanced, because you know there's some way to hook up like a satellite, or not a satellite, what the fuck is it called? Power from the sun.
Solar energy.
Solar. Yeah. you can hook up like a little solar panel to like the top of like a rechargeable battery. Like there's ways to do it, and I think that would be like my soul. Like screw finding shelter and food for the first night. I'd be like, can you make sure that my phone stays on so I can listen to my music? Okay, thanks. Like honestly, that would just be the worst.
You always wonder those kind of things. Like I always like, especially when I think like how something would survive, like how technology would survive or how music survives in the future. I even wonder things like, this is gonna sound really weird, but I even wonder like even when I watch like Guardians of the Galaxy and Peter has like he has his
Walkman,
his Walkman, but I'm just like,
batteries.
There's a part of me, I was like, would batteries even still be there? Like are people even still making batteries? Like, how is that still working?
I think it's one of those things that, like, if you brought it in, they like somebody would be like, "Oh, I know how to adapt this," and like instantly just like forever, like give it like a forever battery.
I guess that's a point. Yeah, at that point, somebody's got you have an adapter. At that point, they've obviously thought about that at that point. So yeah.
I mean, I remember the days when it was so high tech to have like the cassette adapter for your Discman in your car.
Yeah.
And like that was literally the reason why you or your best friend would always ride shotgun.
Oh my God.
So that you could handle like the 25-pound booklets of CDs. I still have mine. I have 3 of them. Hold on, I'll show you. I have 3 booklets of CDs that are all full and all organized. Like, these were all alphabetized. I remember because I used to drive from San Jose to LA randomly or for like concerts and stuff. And these would literally be sitting on the seat next to me. And I knew, hold on. Okay, this is numbers through J. And I could literally like open the book and find whatever CD I wanted.
Yep.
Because it's all in order by artist. And then it's in order by catalog because I'm a crazy person.
No, that's what it's about. It's like, you know, people have their vinyl collections, you know, and people have their CD collections. I have a DVD collection. Like, you know, like when you lived and breathed this stuff, you know, from a young age, you actually have collections of these things, you know. Yeah. Like there was such a life before digital, and there still continues to be a life before digital because, you know, when things are corporeal, they actually matter, you know.
And also digital fails you so many times. Like you remember the whole like hype against was it when Netflix said that it was going to stop carrying Friends and people lost their ever loving minds? And I was like, that's cute. I have all 10 seasons on DVD.
Seriously.
Plus just the last episode alone on a DVD. Like, that's what you do. Like, you just collect.
Yeah.
Like, I have 3 bookcases full of Blu-rays and CDs and DVDs and God.
And I love the digital.
I think that's why people in the Schmodown like bond so quickly, because we all have the same addiction to media. Mm-hmm. You know, it's like a never-ending drive to like see everything and listen to everything and like buy things that we hold dear to us to display our love for them.
Mm-hmm. That'll never go away. Like, no. Yeah, it's like having trophies. It's like no matter how, like, look, like whatever, Spotify, you know, Netflix, that stuff is convenient as shit. I will never stop using it. Trust me. I will never stop using it. Because the convenience is just insurmountable. But just like, I will also never, like, that doesn't take anything away. Like, I will never stop actually collecting and experiencing that pride you have when you actually own things. And you're like, these are the things I love, and here they are right in front of me. You know, that will never go away, no matter how high tech, you know, no matter how digital everything goes. That need, that feeling, like you said, to have that display of like, you know, like your pride and your things that you care about, that'll never go away. Yeah.
Plus, there's just also like, I'm kind of an asshole when it comes to like music and stuff about like, I remember laughing when people used to be like, oh, it sounds so much better on vinyl. And I'm like, oh, you're such a snob. And now I'm like, yeah, but have you heard it on vinyl? That sounds really good. Like, there are times when I want to like put on, you know, there are times when I put on my Spotify and I like set it to a channel and like have a great day, and I'm like moving around for like around the house and cleaning things or folding laundry or whatever. And then there are times when like I'm sitting in my room and I'm like, hey, I've got this basket of laundry I need to fold. I really want to listen to the Bangles right now. And you just fucking put the album on and dance it out because it's so much fun. And it it does sound so different. And so much better. Oh my God, big girls don't cry. I can attest that that's a fallacy. We do. Big girls cry. No, yeah, it's such a thing. And I love having all of my movies, especially the ones that like go out of print or, you know, you can't find available. Like there are so many movies that I love that I literally cannot find on any streaming service, but because I own them, I can watch them whenever I want. Yeah. Or that are massive things that people don't want to be seen, and yet you own them because they existed. Also, my retirement fund, right there in that disc.
Yeah, hold on to that. Yeah, because that shit's about to become a diamond. All right, in the market. Disney's over here left and right trying to cover up, you know, trying to rewrite history. You know, on their streaming services. Yeah, like, oh, let's just pretend it didn't happen.
And I'm like, no, it did. I have the proof. It's like It's like how back in the day everybody thought that there was a genie movie with Sinbad, which I swear existed when I was a child.
You mean Kazam with Shaq?
See, that's the thing, is that everybody is like, no, it's that movie. Like, no, like, for some reason, it's like that group memory thing of like, there's so many people that remember or think that they remember that there was a genie movie with Sinbad in it, and everyone says it's Shazam, and it's not. It's such a different movie. It feels like, with things like that, it feels like I somehow passed through a portal and I ended up in a different like parallel universe where Shaq got cast instead of Sinbad. And I was like, no, but in my timeline, it was Sinbad. And you're trying to explain that to people. I don't know.
Sinbad, just with the name alone, that's what throws it off. Like Sinbad always sounded like an extra from Aladdin anyway. So like it's just it's just like I would not be mad at you for just making that connection. I was like, but he's like for your mind just like not going to like Arabian Nights when you think of Sinbad. So yeah, of course he was a genie in something. His name's fucking Sinbad,
right? What have been some of your favorite movie-going memories?
Oh God! Oh, countless. Too many to count.
It's the first one that pops up.
One of my favorites, like the year that, I mean, one of the favorites that will always be like one of my favorites in my life is when, like the month when Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone and Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring came out. Like that month, they came out like a month apart. And that was just such, like, it was such a monumental moment, like in my life.
That was, I think, the birth of the nerd. Like that was like it was like a sonic bang happened, and all of a sudden the nerds came through and they're like, this is our world now.
Well, it was the resurgence. It was like an explosion of fantasy filmmaking. Like fantasy blockbuster filmmaking went between November and December in 2001. That shit went back on the map between The Sorcerer's Stone and The Fellowship of the Ring. Two of the biggest box office hits that year. I'm like trying to say they're the biggest. I'm trying to think what made more money than both of those films that year. But like, forgive me, it's been a while since I've looked at the box office stats for 2001.
Box office stats not included in Showdown, so fuck that noise.
But both of them were above 300 million, right?
Oh, yeah.
Right. Well, hey, girl, the day that they do, sign me up. Like, I will put that on the wheel every time. I will put on box office numbers on the wheel every time. But you want to talk about some nerd shit? Yeah, you want to talk
to her?
Yeah, you want to talk about some nerd shit? Like,
not that
I was like, cool. Box office gross, domestic versus international, adjusted versus like.
Oh
yeah. I love that shit. Yeah, that's those are just two of my favorite fantasy properties. They were two of my favorite book series, and they were finally coming to the big screen. And I was a kid, and that was huge. Like that was humongous. Just to see something that you had been reading about, like just reading and only existed in your imagination, and to see those things, just somebody put that vision to the screen, and spectacularly in both of those movies, better than I could have ever hoped. Like Lord of the Rings, like Fellowship is like a perfect movie. Sorcerer's Stone isn't even like a perfect movie, but like I gotta give Chris Columbus so much credit for just like establishing the Harry Potter's world and like bringing it just so lavishly, just bringing it so like alarmingly to life. Like I feel like as good as you could have ever hoped. That was just a dream come true when I was a kid.
It's definitely not the best Harry Potter movie, but it lays the most amazing foundation for the house that Potter built on top of it. Like it's really like, if you think about it, if that movie had tanked, could you imagine what would happen? Like where we would be cinematically at this point? Like what movies would not have gotten made if Harry Potter had failed? Like that's an amazing linchpin in pop culture. And I actually remember with terror that time during when Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings first came out, because I was working at a movie theater during that time, and let me tell you, that was the scariest thing I've ever done. Second, very, very, very close second was I was helping opening a movie theater in Emeryville, which is, you know, where Pixar's heads like studios are. But we were opening, it was a new AMC in Emeryville, and opening weekend was opening weekend. Our opening weekend of the theater was opening weekend of Return of the King. Not a good weekend to open a theater on.
Was it just like...
It
just looked like...
It was mayhem, because we didn't even do a soft open.
Probably just looked like the March on Washington, like outside of your theater.
It was like the Battle of Helm's Deep. Because it was a movie theater in one of those like outdoor malls, and all throughout the mall we had to set up lines for each theater. Oh, God. So like people were showing up like 8 a.m. that morning in full regalia.
Oh yeah.
Waiting in line, and it was just like I remember driving up there at like 6 o'clock in the morning, parking my car. I got up there at 7, parked my car, and as I'm walking into the movie theater to start my like 17-hour day, I'm literally seeing like elves and dwarves and orcs and shit as I'm walking in, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And I realized, oh my God, they're here already for the movie. And it was just like, everything went wrong. We ended up
yep.
one of our prints got burned. And so we had to like loop it through, because this is back when like it was actual like film.
Yep.
And so we had to like, I don't even remember how they did it, but they looped it through one display across to another display, like overhead. Like the film was going overhead, like in the box. It was ridiculous in the booth. It was ridiculous. It was so much fun.
Wow.
Yeah, that was a fucking crazy day.
I missed out on that. Like as obscenely as I love movies, I never had a job working in a movie theater. I missed out. Everybody who I've ever talked to, I feel like everybody I've ever talked to who loves movies is like, oh yeah, I used to have a job as a projectionist. I used to work in a movie theater. I'm like, they're like, I used to watch movies all the time for free. I'm like, why did I do this? Like, why? Like, what was I smoking? Why didn't I get this job when I was why did I never work in a movie theater? It's such a job to get. And I think there's always great stories behind it.
It seems so obvious looking back that you're like, of course I worked at a movie theater. Of course I worked for Blockbuster or whatever. Mm-hmm. But it's like, wow, like what else could I have done with that time? I practically, because my sister started working at the AMC in Saratoga. She was one of like the first hires, and she was 15 when it happened, when it opened. So she was on like a work release thing, like the child youth, like work thing. Like she had to have a work permit.
I know what you mean, yeah.
And so they opened during the summer, and I just remember going and hanging out at the movie theater so much that like the managers got to know me. And so I would literally like just take a bus down to the movie theater and like theater hop all day and like harass people between theater. Like I would get it like a daily schedule of movies and like what theaters they were playing in. Like I learned how to read that before I like ever got hired there.
Yeah.
And so finally like we were like counting down the days. I was like 15, or I was 14. I was waiting until I turned 15. And like all the managers were like, are you 15 yet? Can we put you to work finally? And I'm like, yes, calm down. It's like 3 weeks away. Like, he's the best. We used to get bored on like Wednesday nights, and like we would all have the radios. It would be like, what kind of car did Magnum PI drive in Magnum PI? Like, what stupid shit. God, I miss that. We had so much fun.
Yeah.
Oh, those screenings. They were the best.
Yeah, I'm a little like I'm now a scavenger for them nowadays. They've made it much more like accessible. They went on a dry spell a little bit with the pandemic last year, but now that like they can now go digital. Like I'm a fiend for like giving out free passes like for digital screenings and now for movies. I'm all about that stuff. And that's where I get my fix in, you know, at least seeing movies where I wouldn't have normally seen them before. Yeah. Love doing that.
I've been exchanging lists with friends of like what we've been watching, what we need to watch, like what are you know how everybody's like, oh, I haven't watched that movie, and everybody loses their mind, like the big holes, and everybody has like like at least one gigantic hole in their movie watching experience or whatever. Yeah. And so I've been trying to like narrow those down. What would you say is one of yours? Because I love hearing like.
Oh, I got a doozy. Like just like yesterday, I watched The Wizard of Oz start to finish from the first time yesterday, the day before yesterday.
Did you love it?
Oh God, it was delightful.
So good.
I knew I was going to. Like it's one of those things, and it's one of those movies in your life where like I've already seen so much of it. Like I've absorbed so much of it. It's such a pop culture staple that like I've always seen clips of it. I know the entire plot of the movie. Yeah. Like, you know, like I've heard every which way, everybody's opinion on the movie, you know? So I feel like I know you. Like I've never like we've never talked, but I feel like I know you. Like, you know, like it's like one of those situations.
Like meeting a friend that people have told you about for years. And you're finally like, oh my God, I know who you are.
I've heard so much about you. It's so nice. Like, you know, like it was
like finally meeting your friends on the internet.
Exactly. It was absolutely one of those situations where like just so years just went by. I was like, I know this is like the most famous movie of all time, but like I already know everything about it. So like, do I really need to see it? You know, I wasn't saying like I was actively avoiding it, but it was just casual, just like, oh, bye. It was like, it was just like I was just casually missing it. I was just finally like, you know what? It's time to cut the shit. Just watch this movie. Like I still didn't like, I was reaching a point in my life where I was just like, I have no excuse for just not actually sitting down and watching it at this point, even though I probably know everything that will, I will see everything coming. I know what I'm looking for in the whole movie. Still just watch it so you can actually do it the respect and honor of watching it. It's such an important movie. Just watch it. And I watched it and it's a testament to how stellar that film is, how timeless and immortal that movie is, that knowing every single thing that was going to happen in it, having seen many clips from it, knowing as much as I know about it, I could answer plenty of trivia questions about it without having ever seen it. I felt the magic and the wonder as if I had never seen it before. Yeah. Like I was like, this is excellent. This is magnificent. This is out of this world. The production, the level and the skill of the production for being 1938 or 1939, sorry, is out of this world. Like it just like movies made like 20 years after this don't look as good as this. Yeah. Like just on a technical level alone, this movie's fucking off the charts. And just actually sitting down and watching and experiencing it for the first time was just magical. Yeah. And as much as I love movies, as much of a movie buff as I am, I had never seen that movie. And I just watched it a couple nights ago.
But see, that makes me like, part of my heart is like sad that you didn't get to experience that as a child and like grow up with that feeling. But then another part of me is so jealous that you got to experience it for the first time, being fully aware of everything and like having a massive appreciation for production value. Whereas like a kid, you're like, this is magic. But as an adult, you're like, this is magic. And it's magic because I know the hard work that goes into all of this and like knowing
what it takes. Yeah.
And like, no pun intended, but peeking behind, you know, paying attention to the man behind the curtain, you know, like, you know, what goes on behind the curtain, and it makes it even that more magical. Like that's actually a shift that I've developed the last few years of like, when people tell me like what movies they haven't seen, instead of being like, I can't believe you haven't seen this. Like you're terrible. Like you think you're a fan of movies, like blah, 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 into like, oh my God, I'm so excited you get to watch it for the first time.
Right.
Like it's such a joy to like experience something new for the first time. And like, why wouldn't you celebrate that? Like, why wouldn't you rejoice in that?
Right. There's such an opportunity there. Like let's start looking at the glass half full here. Cause like, yeah, it's not about shaming somebody. It's like you said, like it will ignite that reaction in the right people. It'll ignite that reaction where they're just like, oh my God. And like you said, like you can get so many different perspectives. Movies can mean a lot to you when you were little, but then they can mean things that you never really understood that they would mean to you if you watch them for the first time when you are somebody with a lot of perspective, when you are an adult. And there's like the opportunity there to experience a movie in a whole different way. In that way is like, that's something like, that's exciting. That's thrilling. That's something you could be envious of too with somebody.
Yeah. And somebody like me, and I'm assuming you, who has seen a shit ton of movies in our lives and has a massive collection that we watch, finding something new like that and discovering something that brings that joy is so rare and so wonderful. Whereas like, especially with what we do and having to like study, it kind of takes you out of that like enjoyment part of a movie and takes you into like study mode where you're like, okay, he just walked into room 25-7. I'm going to write that down and have to remember it because it's probably going to be asked about. And like, oh, that's the guy from this movie. Okay, now who directed that movie? What year did it come out? Like you get like so caught up in the mentality of what we do for fun and stop enjoying the movies that we used to watch for fun. But so, yeah, it's nice to reestablish that. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend watching Arsenic and Old Lace.
Oh, all-time favorite. One of my all-time favorites. Nope.
And that's a movie somehow that I hadn't watched until like 3 weeks ago. And I was like, oh my God, I need to be an actress now because all I want to do in my life is play one of these aunts. Like,
right.
That's all I want to do.
I'm so happy you brought up that movie.
It's so good. It makes me so happy. And I'm like, oh yeah, I've watched, because I grew up watching old movies. Like I had a very well-rounded childhood and like everything from, like obviously Disney, but like I was watching like old school musicals from like the 40s and 50s and like classic movies and everything. And it's just like somehow that movie slipped through everything. And I realized that I had like a whole, like one of those like 4-pack movie things from like Target of, oh my God, of Cary Grant. And I was like, I just pulled it out and I was like, I haven't seen any of these. And I like literally spent an entire day just watching all 4 of them. And I was like, this was delightful. This movie's so good. Of course, I also watched Gunga Din, which I'm not a fan of.
Really?
Yeah, not really.
That's fair. I think Gunga Din and loving Raiders of the Lost Ark, I could see so much of why Gunga Din inspired. Oh
yes, I definitely appreciated it for what it gave us later down the road cinematically. But like as a movie, I was kind of like, okay, like this is like as much as I try to suspend my like current mentality, it very much leaked into like, yeah, this is pretty racist. Like. It's pretty hardcore.
It was. I know. And that's always like going back to these old movies. That's our biggest challenge. Like that's our biggest thing that we have to confront, going back and revisiting these classic movies. It's like, wow, that shit is racist, but
I mean,
so was the world, like so was the world back then. It's not like this movie was explicitly being racist.
I don't think
the world, the normal world itself was incredibly racist. Like, it's just reflective of the world.
I don't while I appreciate that thought, I don't think we should be speaking in the past tense because with everything that's been going down,
that's fair.
We've kind of come full circle because I was literally part of that 4-pack is Destination Tokyo. And they're talking about the Japanese. And I'm like, ooh, like, can we pick other words, guys? Like,
that, I will say that is some of the stuff that has aged the worst in Hollywood. Yeah. The approach to Japanese people, like just
any race that's not white.
Well, that especially, yes, that's of course by default in general, but particularly any classic era movie that features Japanese people. There's only one exception that I could think of. Of course, I haven't seen everything. But like, it's usually always painfully aging terribly. One exception is a Marlon Brando movie, which I actually think is really good, which is a movie called Sayonara.
Oh, yeah, I could see that.
Which is, it's at least in the very least, like it's a movie about, 2 American soldiers who fall in love with Japanese women in Japan. And at the very least, just because of that basis, that like from that standpoint alone, that like
It has a
it's actually treating Japanese people as like characters and people rather than like caricatures. You know, just from that standpoint alone, it's at least approaching it with like a little more sensitivity, like race relations with a little more sensitivity. But like,
it gets real hard to like watch some of these movies and be like,
outside of that, yeah.
I mean, and not because of the race issue, but it took me almost 30 times to literally make it all the way through Gone with the Wind.
Oof.
Because I can't stand that character. And I would rage quit the movie like 20 minutes in. Like it was one of those like gradual things where like I'd watch it for 20 minutes and then have to turn it off. And then like a few months later, I'd go back and try and I'd make it like 35 minutes in and then I'd have to turn it off because like it was just so infuriating. And I finally made it through and I was like, I will never watch that movie again. Like ever, ever, ever again.
I will like second the spirit with you in that. So Gone with the Wind is another one that I've actually never seen. And it's because of the reasons. It's because of the reasons that you're saying. I was just like, dude, I don't know if I'm ready. Like, I think I'm going to be so frustrated by it that it's like, I would rather just learn as much as I can about it.
Yeah.
You know, it's like Birth of the Nation. Birth of the Nation. Like, it's just like, do I really need to watch it? Or like, do I just need to learn why it's important? And I get that sense with Gone with the Wind so hard that like I just kept pushing it off. Like even as a teenager, like I just kept pushing it off. Well, I was also stupid as a teenager. I was like, it's how long? Fuck that. Yeah. Like, you know, like like
so to be fair, it's 4.5 hours, but it feels like 19. So, you know.
Yeah. So that was like when I was stupid, like when I was just sophomoric and like young, that was a deterrent. Like I was just like, oh, too long. Nope. But then as I got older, like I was also just like I was seeing all like the like you're saying the narrative problems with it, the social problems with it. I was just like, oh. Well, I was like, do I need to really watch it or should I just really just learn about it, learn everything about it?
Can I just IMDb study this?
Understand its place. Yeah.
It took me so long from when I started to when I actually like accomplished watching it all the way that the reason why I started turning it off at the beginning was because of feminist reasons. And I'm just like, I hate this bitch. She's so awful. Like, oh dear God. If I was living back then, I would punch her in the fucking throat. I cannot stand this child. And then like, as time went by, I was like, not only is she terrible, but this movie is super fucking racist. Like it's, holy crap. I mean, but then you think, you know, like, well, the first Black actress got her Oscar nomination and blah, blah, blah. It's like, yeah, it was ahead of its time, but also like, could we have picked a better subject matter?
You know, it's also, it's complicated because it's one of the things I also applaud movies for too, is not candy coating the past. You know, I do also really respect it, like, because I feel like what happens, this is one of the distinct things. I wish I had more examples off the top of my head, but like one of the distinct things that I notice sometimes about like movies nowadays that are getting made and being made so socially conscious that like even if they make a movie about something in the past, they always try to like kind of be like there's always like kind of like a slight like apologist angle. Yeah. To like
put around the issue.
Yeah, like, you know, like they can show racism, but they've got to have a character in the movie who says it. That racism is bad though. Yeah. Like, you know, like they just still need that like, hey, but we're not condoning this.
We like, acknowledge it sucked.
Yeah. And even to the point, there's some, like I said, I wish I had examples, but there are some movies where it's just like, you're shoehorning it. Cause I know that racism is bad. And I'm not saying that you think racism is bad, but like based on the time that you're making this movie and the characters in the movie, there wouldn't be a character who's just like, wait a minute, you guys.
Yeah.
Racism is bad. Like, you know, that kind of stuff.
Or there would be, but they would instantly kill them and put their bodies on display to be like, if you're like this guy, don't be a sympathizer.
Yeah. Yeah. Like there would be a lot more of like recognizing that like a lot of people didn't say things, even if they thought racism was bad. A lot of people weren't outspoken about it as much as they were because you could literally be killed for it. Yeah. You know, like even being like a sympathizer or something like that, you know? Yeah.
Which is why I think one of the first movies that got made that really opened a lot of, and I'll just say it, white people's eyes, to racism was Gangs of New York, because it was one of the first movies that was dealing with racism without it being like whites versus blacks or whites versus Asians. It was like a white on white, like racist entity. And like, I think that that was one of the first things that like, because, you know, it was like the Irish were not prosecuted. What's the word I'm looking for? Persecuted. Thank you. Were persecuted like crazy when the country first started. Like they were coming over here in droves, and like the nationalists were like, those are second class citizens. We don't need them. Give them the shittiest jobs. We won't hire them unless it's like for a quarter of the wage that they normally would make. And like, I think that that was one of the turning points in cinema of being like, no, we can show this. We just need to like ease people into it. I think that nowadays they're, especially in today's times, they're doing a much better job of doing it, of showing what happened in the past. Like Trial of the Chicago 7 did such a great job, I think, of showing like what happened back then and not sugarcoating it and not, you know, not using just like the white lens into history. But yeah, it's also just like the touchiest and most delicate subject you could ever talk about normally, especially with the rise in like all the racist crimes that are happening these days, which is fucking terrifying and shocking and just like the most abhorrent thing I've ever heard of. Like, I just, even as a kid, I didn't understand it, but as an adult, it boggles my mind even more that I'm like, people are people. Like, what the fuck are you angry about?
Yeah, like it's like there's no reason to hide this kind of things, which kind of ties back to like what you're saying about like with Disney, like hiding like the fact that like they made these things back then, and that's the absolute wrong move. It doesn't absolve anything, and it's the most harmful thing is to promote ignorance and to try to hide things. Instead, it creates less educated people. It cuts off education so that we can't then make the right decisions moving forward. Like it's the opposite of what you should do.
Right.
You should leave and make sure you show things the way they were so that we have the tools and we have the knowledge and the insight to then move forward and learn from mistakes or have a clear idea of like, this is what we shouldn't do.
Yeah.
It's so damaging and so backwards. Like Trial of Chicago 7, I really do like. I do think that that movie still falls into like, I do think, especially towards the end, I do think that movie does fall into like some embellishment and sensationalism like towards the end of the movie, but like it doesn't take away from like bringing up and just facing things head on, like you're saying. And Gangs of New York, absolutely. Like I love that kind of shit that is just like, no, we're not gonna like create like a moral, you know, compass around this in the movie. It's just like, we're just gonna show these things as they were, whether they upset you or not. Like, we're just going to show, you know, the depths of racism, like, you know, in this country, like you said, like it wasn't just like, it's not just like a white and black issue. Like there's so many layers and versions of racism, like so many layers to it. And we're just going to show it. Like, we're just going to show it as is. And that is really impactful when you just there's so much truth and authenticity in that when you just show things as is and just let it just wash over them and let people just react to that. And some of the best. So that's when movie making is at its most effective. I love when movies do shit like that.
Yeah,
like,
when they shake you to your core and show you a truth and make you address a falsehood within yourself, because we all carry them, and we all have prejudices and we all have thoughts that, you know, we may not be proud of, or, you know, opinions that are completely wrong, that are shaded by our life experiences and things that we've been taught from a young age. But like, the thing is that you have to get out of that and start making your own decisions and realize all of that stuff. Yeah, dude, Peggy, Glory was amazing. Glory was one of the first ones. I remember watching that in like 6th grade or something like that, and just like, because I grew up in the Silicon Valley, so like I grew up in an area that didn't have a lot of African Americans. It was basically like white kids and like Asian kids. Like my graduating class was 67% Asian. So like there weren't like that was the diversity that we had. Whereas like I have friends who like grew up in like Southern California, and a lot of like that, you know, it was a lot of diversity with like the with Hispanic kids and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing to talk with people from different areas that have different racial divides in the things that they grew up in, and like how similar their experiences were with, regardless of what other race they were attending school with, like everything happened the same way. Everything, like a prejudice is going to be a prejudice. And like growing up around that, and like I never thought twice that it was weird that like I would go over to my friend's house and get served kimchi, and you know, like I used to climb over our neighbors, the fence between our backyard and our neighbor's backyard, because they had two wiener dogs that I used to play with. And the idiots that built the fence built them like they were weaving sideboards. So it was literally just a fucking ladder for a 5-year-old me. And I would climb over and play with the dogs. And they were the couple who lived next door to us were Japanese. And if the wife caught me in the backyard, she would bring me inside, feed me dumplings, and the husband would walk me back to my front door with like soy sauce all over my face, just like ready for a nap, and be like, "Yeah, I got to play with puppies, and I got spring rolls, and I got dumplings." I'm like, this is the best day ever. But like, I remember growing up and like having kids be like, "Oh no, we can't go over to their house because like because of like a race thing." And I'm like, I don't understand that. I never fucking did. It just breaks my heart.
Yeah.
Oh, La Bamba. Oh man,
I've never seen La Bamba.
Oh, it's good. That's one that you should. I think that you would really enjoy that, because it's like half musical, half like race relations. It's fun. It's also like obviously a true story. So
I do like that stuff. I do like when they bring what's your favorite version? Okay, what's your favorite version of Hairspray? Speaking of like a fun musical that tries to bring in racial commentary. What's your favorite version of Hairspray?
I mean, Waters weirds me out. John Waters is just right. I love how big of a fucking freak he is, and how unabashedly of a freak he is. I mean, the man made a movie about a vagina with teeth in it. He's so weird, and I love him for it. But I as much as I love the original, I gotta say the 2009 version is my favorite. I mean, we get Zac Efron, and like it's so we get John Travolta in a fat suit in drag, dancing with Christopher Walken, singing about true love. Like, it just makes my heart so happy. Oh, is it 2004? We all know the movie release are not my strength. Like,
it's 2007, everybody.
Whatever.
That's okay.
No, I love both versions. I do love the fact that in the new version, John Walters does make an appearance. Do you know what his cameo is in the newer one? For 5 points in the category of
God damn it. Damn it, Silvestrini. Fuck. No. Wait. What? Does he play a milkman?
Mm-mm.
No. He plays somebody who helps Tracy out. Does he play like a security guard? No.
That really helps, but she sings about him.
Oh, fuck. Wait, no. I can like picture him. I can picture him kind of. Does he play somebody racist?
No.
Okay. Put me on my misery.
I don't think so. No, he appears in the opening scene when Tracy is singing Good Morning Baltimore. Mm-hmm. He is the flasher that lives next door.
Oh. Okay.
It's so good, because like all you see is his back, like flashing open his trench coat, and then he turns around and you just see that like gray hair with like the blackest black, like tiny mustache over his lip, and you're like, right. Fucking John Walters, like John Waters, amazing.
Yeah. It's fun. Like, there's just such pros and cons. I think honestly, I like kind of land in the, like, I almost put the two on the same level just for really different reasons. Like, they're just so different from each other. So it really is tough to compare. I mean, it's the same backbone, like the story, but like they both have just such different approaches. As far as like sheer musical goes, it is hard to top the remake just because it's just like it's just injected with so many more songs and so much more of like, you know, like
It's literally a Broadway musical brought to the screen. Brought to the screen. Like that's what it is.
Yeah, no, yeah, it is.
I can talk.
No, it is. It has, yeah, it has more of the bombast, you know, like of like a more traditional big budget musical. It is really fun. It has a lot more like crowd pleasing moments for sure.
Yeah.
You know, and the Waters one, because it's Waters, is so much more subversive and like just like weird, like, you know, like and has a lot more like just has like a level of camp and like irony to the whole thing, you know. So it's just like a different, like in the new Hairspray, it's like a lot more obvious things that you enjoy about it, like a lot more surface obvious things, which are awesome, and really fun. And then like I think like the Waters version has like a lot of things that are like, oh, like, you know, like the kind of like creep like sneak up on you.
Yeah. Or just creep. It's a creepy.
Or just creep.
It's just a creepy movie. Although I will say this, every time I get a desire to watch Hairspray, I then immediately afterwards have the biggest desire to watch Crybaby.
I've never seen Crybaby. No.
Oh my god, it's so good. It's like my it's one of my favorite Johnny Depp roles.
Mm-hmm.
It's so ridiculous. But again, it like very much deals with classism, you know. It's
Mm-hmm.
the groups versus the writers. Hey, mommy. What?
Where's the amaretto?
Down my throat.
That whole bottle?
Yeah. You've been drinking. Come say hi, Mom. Oh, she's upset.
Oh, bye, Mom. Silvestrini.
Hi, Mom. But no, it. I mean, anything that Waters did was very much driven by classism
Mm-hmm.
and racism, and you know, he wanted to make a difference in that era, and I think he did such a massive and fantastic job of it. But yeah, no, dude, Crybaby's you're not the only one, apparently. It's so good. I mean, we get Johnny Depp singing and on a motorcycle and crying because he's a crybaby.
I should.
It's also so much fun. Like it's just the best. It's also a movie that hasn't been asked about in musicals. PJ should get on that. PJ.
Hey, you're talking about you're gonna will it into existence. It'll be.
I will, but like the worst thing is every time I will something into existence, it never comes into my matches.
Into your match, right? Yeah.
Like there's been one question about one of my favorite movies, Out Cold, and it didn't get asked to me, and I was so angry. I like raged. I had to leave the studio. I was like, this is bullshit. Like it was bad.
You think you're mad? Imagine, you know, whoever out there who their favorite movie is ready to rumble. Imagine how jealous they are of Andraco.
I was so angry. I was like, I love this movie. I'm telling you, my favorite movies are awful. No one likes my favorite movie.
Well, you got me with that Out Cold. I was like, fuck. I haven't heard somebody say the name of that movie in like 20 years.
I love that movie. It makes me so unreasonably happy. And then like the day that I remember the day I found out that somebody was like, yeah, you know, it's basically like an ode to Casablanca. I was like, what? And then I rewatched it because like there's like lines in it. It's like of all the ski towns in all of Alaska, she had to walk into mine. And I was like, oh, that's cute. It's a Casablanca reference. And then I rewatched it with that knowledge, and like my brain overheated and exploded. It hurt so bad. I was so angry.
And now it is art on another level that you never knew before.
Why am I in trouble, Chris?
Uh-oh.
What did I do? Oh, because I drank all my mom's amaretto. Yeah, probably.
Oh, nice.
But that STEMI check hit, so I'll be replacing it very soon.
Starter Benches, Guys and Dolls. Just saw that.
Dude,
love Guys and Dolls.
I rewatched that about a week and a half ago. It's so good.
Yeah.
Like like I never understood. Like I got it. Like Brando was like an attractive dude and all that.
That is the understatement of the century, but proceed.
But like in all of his movies, he kind of plays like that hard ass like douche kind of guy.
He's
And I'm like,
impenetrable. Yes.
I'm like, okay, I get it. In my 20s, I was massively attracted to that guy, and then like I rewatched Guys and Dolls, and I was like, oh, I love him. Like he's so nice. He's so good. He doesn't.
And that is
like he literally flies a girl down to what, like Cuba, for a date. She gets trashed, and he does not take advantage of her and tries to get her to get back on the plane to go to New York. Like
that's so gentle.
He is. As much as, I mean, he's kind of a douche for like taking the bet, but but he really liked her, and he didn't take advantage, and she was drunk and like ready to like get down because let's be honest, yeah, it's Brando.
It's Brando. Look, it's one of those things where it's just like such a 1950s plot. Like it's just so like that they would never write a script like that nowadays because they would just tear it a new one. It would be so, the gender politics in it would be, exhausting.
I mean, if you don't want to split hairs on it, She's All That's kind of similar. Without the singing. I mean, they dance, but it's prom, so
Yeah, I always thought She's All That.
So of course you have to dance.
I always thought She's All That was more like a Pygmalion kind of like.
Yeah, but it definitely has like similar threads. Not like an obvious remake, but like it has some interesting elements.
It definitely is channeling it. No, for sure. But we were talking about earlier about like people who like can't sing for shit. That's the irony of just like I know I was like ragging on them earlier. I was like, come on, be better, casting directors. I'll make the exception because God knows Marlon Brando can't sing for shit. Shit. He is so bad that
How bad is he?
I'll tell you. He is so bad that they when they were shooting it, like they would just like pause. Well, I mean, not shooting it, but when they were recording like his songs, like even like they weren't singing live like on the stage, but when they would be recording his songs, like he was just so bad that they would just like have to stop, and they would just have to splice like takes of him singing together because he would go so fucking off key. He just couldn't sing, like he just couldn't sing through, like he just couldn't get through without like butchering a note, or just going so off. He was just so bad that like most of his songs in that movie are just like, it's just like a technical, like it's just like splicing together clips, like sound bites of like different takes of him singing. Yeah, because they just couldn't get a good take.
He kind of William Shatner role, which I'm all for. Like that's fine. He got away with it.
He got away with it. Yeah. I can fully admit that, like, yeah, he's terrible. I don't care. Like, I can completely admit my bias.
Right.
But yeah, it's just a really great example.
Yeah, Starger brought up the Annie question. Where is it? She was asking about which version of Annie we liked better.
Oh.
And that 100% is the Carol Burnett version. Like, I'm sorry, but that is Miss Hannigan for me.
I have to be exempt from this because I haven't seen the new one. Sorry.
Oh, that's fair.
I haven't seen the new one. So by default, my answer, my answer is going to be like the 1982 version or whatever it is, whatever year that was.
Yeah, but I mean, Albert Finney, Carol Burnett, Tim Curry. Like,
how do you top that cast?
As Rooster is like, and Bernadette Peters as a blonde as his like sidekick, and the three. Talk about a group you want to go drinking with. Like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Ugh. Carol Burnett's a gift.
Yeah.
I wish that she would be in more movies, but wait, did she die? Is she still alive?
I honestly don't know.
I don't remember anymore.
I ain't going to touch that one.
All I know for a fact is that Betty White is still alive because she is my goal of who I want to grow up to be.
Betty White's getting done.
Betty White's amazing. All right, guys, we're slowing down. I mean, we could talk for fucking hours and hours on end, but you know, Marisol is on the East Coast, and I want to like make sure she gets some sleep tonight. So if you guys have any, we'll give it 15 more minutes until we get off, and then if you guys have any more StreamYard or Streamlab questions, throw those in. We'll address those, and then we'll end with my favorite question. So what have you discovered a movie during the pandemic that you've absolutely just not liked?
I've been pretty fortunate. I've really been able to really dodge some stinkers, thankfully. I really did. This is just off the top of my head. I really, really hated Scoob.
Yeah.
Because that was one of the movies that like, it was like kind of the pandemic was still kind of new. And that was one of the ones that like, I was like, that was going to come out in theaters, and like, I wasn't going to go see it necessarily in theaters, but I was interested in it.
Mm-hmm.
I really do like Scooby-Doo. I've always, as like a little kid, I've always liked Scooby-Doo. So I was interested in it. And then when I heard it was going to be streaming, I was like, oh, perfect. You know, this solves my problem. And then I watched it and I was like, okay, fuck this. Yeah.
It's not our childhood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just kind of, okay. All right. Okay. You could have been cool when you just decided not to be. And
just the pure fact that they didn't bring in the actors who played them on the big screen to do the voices. Like, I'm so angry that Matthew Lillard did not get a call to play Shaggy. Like, I'm sorry, but like, I took that personally. Like, I was angry deep in my soul.
That's a weird thing.
I love me some Matthew Lillard.
For sure. And that's the weird thing about, like, you can say whatever you want. I know some people, like, I know that like a lot of people are just like, oh, the live action Scooby-Doo movies are trash, you know, and like I'm not gonna like, yeah, right. Like, I'm not gonna disagree with you necessarily. Like, I'm not gonna fight. I'm not gonna lay my life on the line to be like, no, you are wrong, sir. How dare you? But like at the same time, like okay, fine. But like, they had that was some excellent casting in those movies. And just Matthew Lillard and Linda Cardellini alone, like as Velma Kelly, and Lillard as Shaggy, was just some great casting. And even Freddie Prinze Jr. and Sarah Michelle Gellar got to poke fun at themselves. Like, you know, like, it was just, I think the casting was great in that movie, regardless of how you feel about the actual movie.
I mean, you can't, like, in my brain, Scooby-Doo is one of those franchises that, like, you can't make a live action movie. Like, you just can't. It's not going to capture the ridiculousness and the silliness of the cartoon. Yeah. Like,
it's too much of a cartoon.
It doesn't translate live action. However, what they did and the casting for it was fucking perfect. It was everything that it could be.
Yeah.
But then Scoob just kind of like let us all down.
Scoob is just something that was just like focus grouped like to death.
Yeah.
You could tell. They're like, what are the kids into? Like, what are they into? Like, you know, like, it's just like, well, I mean, the people who like Scooby-Doo are into Scooby-Doo. Yeah. But what are the kids right now like into? You know?
Scrappy. What was it? I heard somebody was supposed to do a voice in Scoob, and they turned it down because they heard that Scrappy-Doo was going to be in the movie, and they hated Scrappy-Doo so much that they turned the job down. I can't remember who it was supposed to be, but it made me laugh so hard. I'm like, that is the level of petty that I aspire to.
You can understand it. Like, Scrappy-Doo is a very polarizing figure in Scooby-Doo lore. He is.
Yeah, that is a hard line in the sand.
Yeah. The people hate him. They go hard. They go in. It's a deal breaker. He's a deal breaker for a lot of people. I get it.
You love or hate him. Now, in your life, I don't usually like talking about bad movies and like things that we bag on or hate on. But has there been a movie in your life that you're like, I will never rewatch this. This is terrible. I can't believe that this got made, regardless of the cast.
Oh, fuck. I wish I had a cool answer. I don't know, you guys. I know this is not like really an original answer, but movie 43 is pretty atrocious. Like, it's pretty embarrassing to get that many people. Like, that's like maybe the greatest prank ever pulled in the history of like movie pranks. To get that many A-listers, to convince that many A-listers, to pitch that many of them and be like, all right, but it's in bad taste on purpose. Like, you got to get in on this. This is going to be great. Like, you know, like, oh, great, sign me up. Like, you know,
Sure, let's make fun of everybody.
Right. I'll put that Razzie right next to my Oscar. Like, it's just like, it's just like, I think that might be the greatest trick the devil ever pulled, was just like getting that many people to like sign up for that movie. I get when movies are like that bad, and you like, usually we're used to like when a movie's that fucking bad, they get like they bag like one person. You're like, whoa, what is he doing there? Like, you know, like, it's just like, it's just like, how did they get that one person to slum it in that movie?
But
you know,
movie.
But yeah, like, I feel like it was a really bad joke with movie 43. It was just like, they got everybody and their mom in that movie. And I don't know how they did it. I honestly don't. And the movie is so deliberately in bad taste and so bad on purpose. And then in actuality, you know, like, and it's just like, it just blows my mind that movie got made. I don't get it. Well, I don't get it. I don't get how that movie got made.
If you ever want to watch another one like that, but like kind of more tongue in cheek, and like this movie actually scared me as a child. It's called My Boyfriend's Back. And it has Cloris Leachman, who is a goddess in my eyes. Cloris Leachman. It has Philip Seymour Hoffman and Matthew Fox, and like a whole shit ton of like really great actors that like after this movie came, like a decade after this movie came out, like everybody's careers like just blew up. Mm-hmm. And it's about this guy who stages a robbery at his convenience store while the girl that he has like this massive crush on is there, so that he can like thwart the robbery and like she can like think that he's a hero. But in actuality, like a guy, like his store actually gets robbed and he gets shot and killed, but then comes back as a zombie. And she's like way too into it. And so he's like trying to like feed, and like it's awful. It's so fucking bad. But like, it's one of those like, you just watch it and you're like, why did these people agree to this movie? But then you're also like laughing at the absurdity of it. It's funny. It's called My Boyfriend's Back. I highly don't recommend it. Yep. See, Peggy knows what I'm talking about. Yep. That's the guy. It's awful. Yeah, movie 43 is ridiculous. I remember when that first came out, and I was, or that one in I remember not liking I Heart Huckabees and like never wanting to watch it again.
I do like that movie, but it is, yeah, it's not, I don't think it's for everybody. I think it's aloof. It is quite aloof, and that can like, it's not, yeah, I do like that.
I think I need to go back and rewatch it though, just to be like, did I remember that correctly? Or was I being an asshole teenager?
It's just one of those existential like movies that is just like everybody's bopping around in that movie. Like there's nobody's on the ground in that movie. Everybody's going through this existential haze, and it's a comedy on top of it. So it's more like a concept rather than like an actual. It's more like a conceptual film, I feel like, rather than like an actual. This is a logic-based film that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's more to just represent ideas. Like the characters even in it like represent more like concepts rather than like tangible, like grounded people who are making decisions. But yeah. But also not for everybody.
That's fair. Well, we are getting towards the end of it. One last question before I ask my last question, your penultimate question, if you will. What's a movie that you love that you don't think enough people have seen or have even heard of? Because we all have those movies.
I know people like to say that they're like, oh my God, underrated, underseen, when they're like really talking about like Pan's Labyrinth or some shit. Like, you know, like, you know, when they're really talking about things that like everybody knows. Um, but I'm not even going to say Children of Men, because people, that movie is well respected. Like if you're like, if you're like somebody who really actually follows movies, everybody knows about that movie. Yeah. I do really love a movie from not too long ago called In a World, which is written and directed and starring Lake Bell, who she is amazing. She's so funny. She's so insightful. She's got such an edge. And she made her own movie, like, you know, like 8 years ago or something like that. And it's a movie about like something I've never seen a movie be about, which is a movie about a woman who's comes from a family of movie trailer voice actors. And so in a world, like exactly. That's exactly. And so she's a woman who is a really good voice actor, and she wants to break into the world of movie trailer voice acting. And, you know, like her dad's like, I don't know, you're a chick, you know, like, and everybody's like, women don't do that. Women aren't, this is a man's job, sweetheart. Like this is like, you need a man to say in a world, like you need a man to do that. And she has such a great sense of humor. It's such a fun fucking movie that has so many in jokes. Like if you are a movie buff, it has so many in jokes about like all the things that you recognize about movie trailers, about the movie industry. And it opens up your eyes to a whole new fun, zany little underground world of like sexism and job disparity in like some place that you never really thought it would be, which is the highly competitive world of movie trailer voice acting. And I think it has a lot of really insightful humor. Lake Bell she's a terrific actress, and it's a really fun little indie comedy. And I don't hear anybody ever talk about it, really. I feel like that many people haven't seen it, but it's so much fun to dig up and watch. It's just too delightful. It's really hard to pass up. Dimitri Martin's in it, in a supporting role. I can never remember. Oh God, I can never remember this actor's name. He's in A Serious Man. He plays Saul in A Serious Man. He plays her father in it. But Lake Bell is also amazing in it. The supporting cast is really great. Rod Cordroy. I'm sorry. Maybe the guy from Hot Tub Time Machine. I can never remember his last name. He's in it. The supporting cast is great. It's full of amazing comedic actors. It's a funny movie. It's worth it if you love movies. If you're a film buff who knows a lot about movies and loves thinking about in-jokes about the industry of movies, it's a great movie too. It's worth it.
That's a really, really good call. Like, it's one of those movies that I like always laugh. Like I remember watching that for the first time and just really massively enjoying it. And then it's one of those that just kind of just falls into the back of your brain. And then somebody brings it up and you're like, oh my God, I love that movie. It's so fun. I love that. Yeah, I think one of my, because I've been talking about like a core 3 that like people haven't seen before, but I think a new one is
somebody said it. Yeah, Fred Milliman. That's who I was thinking of. Yep, that's him. Yep.
Was it oh my God, was it Please Stand By? Oh my God, no, I'm forgetting the name of it. Please Stand By. Yeah, it's called Please Stand By. And it, well, let me just pop this off the old shelf here. Dakota Fanning, Toni Collette, and Alice Eve, and who else is in this? There's so many people in this, but it's so good. And it's about this girl who has, I think she's autistic, and she loves Star Trek. And they have this contest to write a script for a new for a Star Trek show episode. And she writes it, and she can't get it to the mailbox on time to get it mailed. And so she goes on this adventure down to LA to like hand deliver it. And she's autistic. And so like people are like not wanting her to go, like she like escapes from like the group home that she's in. And like she goes on this amazing adventure, and it's so heartwarming and so sweet. It's so fucking good. Definitely recommend it.
I like that.
It's so sweet. Yeah.
That kind of sounds like that would fall into the same maybe like universe as Fanboys, as that movie of like,
A little
without
bit.
seeing it. Sorry,
Fanboys
correct
is
me if I'm wrong.
massively more slapstick. It's more, yeah. No, Fanboys is dick and fart jokes, and this is like something you could sit down with your mom and watch, and it's very
Okay.
heartwarming and wonderful and sweet. Yeah, maybe don't watch Fanboys with your mom, but it's really funny. Definitely watch it at least once though. All right, so we are closing in. I'm just going to check the Streamlabs one more time real quick. All right, don't have anything else. So I'm going to ask my famous last question. We kind of touched on it, but I would love to hear you just kind of give a dissertation on this. So one of my favorite movies of all time is Almost Famous. So I love asking William's last question, which is, do you have to be happy to write a love song? Do you have to be sad to write a sad song? What is it that you love about music? Serious contemplation. I like it.
Well, music is one of the ultimate things that you can project yourself onto, I think. Maybe a little more so than movies. Movies is like one of the ultimate art forms because it's the ultimate collaboration of oodles and oodles of types of art, which is what makes it awesome. But like music is like, excuse me. Music is why it is powerful is because it's so transportive, I think. So like you're saying, like you don't have to be sad. It's one of the most empathetic art forms there are, and you don't have to be going through those things specifically in order to just feel like especially my relationship with music, which I told you earlier, like my relationship with music is based almost entirely off of feels. Like I don't get diplomatic or like create rules about it or cut people off. I'm just like, look, whatever makes me feel like that. I'm so reactionary to it. Like I just follow my gut with music, and my taste in music and that what was specifically the question?
What is it that you love about music?
Oh yeah. That, yeah.
Keep rambling down that path though. I like it.
No. I was like, wait, let me focus. But yeah, I love that it is what you can it means something different to every single pair of ears that's listening to it. Like it means something different to every person who's listening to it. And there are no rules with it. You could talk about what that person is meaning behind the meaning of their song. Okay, sure. You could talk about that to the end of your days, but the only thing that matters is how you felt when you were listening to it. If there's some people who hear like the happiest song in the world and it makes them cry, like it makes them sad, because it evokes it'll either, God only knows why, like maybe it's so happy that it's bringing to them at a point where like they didn't have anything in their life or something like that. Like it's stirring some kind of memory or some kind of emotion. And that is something you get from music that you can't get from anywhere else. And yeah, music's awesome.
It's true. 100%. I agree wholeheartedly. Music is awesome. Well, I thank you so much for coming on. I miss you so much and I love you to death. And I wish that someday soon we can just hug it out because you're my height and I don't have to worry about crushing your larynx with my boobs. But I love you so much. Tell the kids where they can find you.
Yeah. I'm usually a hermit. I'm not a very social person. This quarantine is only, it's only perpetuated all of my hermit tendencies. I live in a hobbit hole over here. But when I do poke my head out of the sand, I sometimes tweet at my name, Marisol, Marisol _Mariah, Miriah. And then sometimes I pop up. I'm not on Facebook really. I'm not really on Facebook, but I do pop up. I don't get on there a lot, but I do sometimes pop up on the Movie Trivia Showdown Facebook page sometimes. And I also watch and log a lot of the movies and share my thoughts on the movies that I'm watching on letterbox.com. And my username is the same as my Twitter handle there. It's my name _ Mariah on Letterbox. So yeah, I just kind of share some blurbs and thoughts about all the movies I watch on there sometimes too, if you're interested.
Nice. Love that. Well, you can find me here every Thursday interviewing my favorite people, which I'm so glad to finally get you on. This was so much fun. I adore you. Next week is still a few balls juggling in the air, so I don't know. Waiting for confirmation, and if not, then we'll pull someone amazing, of course. If you have any suggestions of who you want me to have on, please find me, follow me, and send me a DM on Twitter. All my information is down below, along with Marisol's. So just shoot that into a comment or send it in a DM. My DMs are open. So yeah, come hang out. And not this coming Sunday, but the following Sunday, our after show for Zoe's Extraordinary Playlist kicks off again when they come back for their second half of the season. I'm very, very excited. Hoping to get a few of those people on the show again. Maybe we'll get Skylar again, which would be amazing. But yeah, so yes, Tyler, I am juggling balls. All the jokes you want. But thank you so much for coming and hanging out with me and Marisol. You guys are the best. And now it's my favorite time of the night because now we get to do the awkward dance off because there's no